right. It's time to go to work, people. Time to go to work. Not that I get paid. I think I'm too self-deprecating on my life. Everybody hits me with the, oh, I think I'm the only person that watches your live streams. Multiple people have told me they're the only people that watch my live streams. So it's true. It's an intimate broadcast. Oh, I'm getting so. We got a lot to talk about, I guess. I don't know. All hell is breaking loose. We're just trying to maintain. So we're reaching out to our people. We're touching base with our people. We're entertaining. We went to the Daily Show yesterday. Ashley and I got free tickets to the Daily Show. So I'm going to talk about that. The Daily Show as a cultural institution, as a pillar of the left in this country. What else happened? Trumpflation has spiked. The price of eggs, god damn it. Haven't we heard it? People care so much about the price of fucking eggs. They're willing to just sell. Oh, well, apparently, okay, the peace negotiations for the Ukraine war have, now Trump's focusing on that. I think they're just going to surrender. That seems to be the strategy. Here's how we're going to end this war. We're just going to surrender. We're going to give them everything they want. We're going to give Putin everything he wants. And then that's peace. That's peacemaking, everybody. That's deal making. Okay, that's the art of the deal. That's the art of the fucking deal, everybody. This is where I can really just let loose and just blow, man, and just say unfiltered, uncensored, unfucking authorized. I don't have any supervision. I don't have any I don't have any handlers, okay? I'm not beholden to, I don't have any donors. I just call it like I see it. I tell it like it is here on the internet. The right wing is cool, right? I mean, this is the zeitgeist, supposedly. It's all brainwashing. It's all fixed. None of it is fucking real. They own the internet. They own all of the media now, basically. They own fucking YouTube, and TikTok, I guess, is on their side somehow. And so we're in the trenches here. We've got one viewer. We're clinging to that one person. Thank you. We're scaring them away. Who is it? Who could it be? I wonder. This is basically a telecall at this point. A telecall, everybody. A video chat. A video. This is a Skype session, basically. Yeah, so that inflation, how about that? How about the price? How do you like the price of eggs now, everybody? I mean, I don't know. I guess that's like the most obvious thing to talk about right off the bat. This thing with Elon Musk and the Oval Office. Oh, it's the let's get right into the political. It's funny because no one was really even talking that much about politics. No one was paying that much attention. Now that, you know, Trump he's reascended the throne. It's like endless punditry, endless nitpicking analysis of every fucking thing that happens. It's like it's too late. We're locked in for 4 years at least. So maybe we should just fucking not pay him that much attention, do our own thing, focus on that, have a good time in spite of them. That's the true resistance. The open mic communities of the world where they can't, the media, even though they're managing our thoughts and our point of view and our thought making kind of process at this point, and what we see and how that influences, they're really toying with us. They really can pull the strings as puppets. We have more points of articulation than ever before. And but at the open mics, at the shows, we're in person, we're face to face, even though we've got this kind of mediated programming inside of us. We are still listening and being with each other. I think that does do something, right? Most communication is nonverbal, right? It's body language. So, I mean, we're communicating in 90% in a deeper way than we even understand. Pheromones. And so being in person, we're winning. We're winning, everybody. We have such joy. We have this bounty of creativity and culture. We've really created our own culture of poetry in the city, in the luxury brand of New York. I was just watching this fucking thing about the New York City housing crisis. It's just like everything. It's tax rebates for luxury housing and shit. They don't subsidize poor people. They subsidize the billionaires, and it's only going to get worse. We got to get rid of pennies. So, we can get more fucking government contracts for Larry, for the big real estate. I mean, that's how Trump made his money. That is wealth redistribution. That is communism in reverse. It's government interference. It's not the free market. No, these people wouldn't know a free market if it fucking bit them in the capital gains tax. God damn it. We work hard, okay? Even though we're self-deprecating, we apologize. We earn our 3 viewers here. So I went to the Daily Show yesterday, okay? Because I just want to see how they do it. Well, this is one of the things living in New York. It just kind of dawned on me. You can see this shit for free. I mean, we're part of this continuum. New York is this archipelago of little rooms and big rooms where performances happen. I mean, there's so many. That's all fucking Broadway is. It's a bunch of venues. It's big. It was invented in a time when they needed that. That was the mass media. Get 600 people into a room. That's the most people that could see something at once. Now it's like the Super Bowl was the most watched human event of all time, supposedly. Watching Travis Kelce get humiliated. Oh, it was sweet. That was even better than like a good game. I just liked seeing them get their ass kicked for 4 quarters. That was fine with me. The commercials were terrible. I guess AI wrote all the commercials, and you can really tell. Everything had this like cold graphite kind of like filter to it, and this kind of gloom. Yeah, so everything sucks now. The football sucks, the NBA sucks, the commercials suck. The country has collapsed. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore. It's all just fixed. It's the richest people get to they think that they're capable because they're rich. And so, Elon Musk goes in and assumes he knows better and he's going to go in and fix everything because he's the smartest man in the world. Because he's so goddamn rich. If you're so smart, how come you ain't rich? It's like that Mr. Show skit about your money is how smart you are. Einstein, he's a real Einstein. Whatever the hell that was. Oh my God, I got 4 people watching. I can't disappoint them. I got to hold this. I can't, my abandonment issues can't handle, just kidding. These are the, this is the entertainment people. Da 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 da. That's entertainment. I'm obsessed with this song. That's entertainment this week. Do people know about I'm jumping all over the place. This is a word salad. This is a collage. Okay, this is a cut up. Because your mind is a cut up. Your mind is jumping around. Your mind is da 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 da. Short attention span, right? Just on to the next video, on to the next click, on to the next thing that you are using to avoid facing your real life. Apparently, they don't want us to sleep. They want us to be on our phones 24/7. And I think TikTok is the most effective app at that. It's like they want your screen time all the time. They want you on your goddamn phone, and they want you to stop sleeping because they could get twice as much screen time out of you. If you just didn't sleep, just keep consuming content, keep watching The Bulwark or whatever. So yeah, The Daily Show. Yeah, this is something you can do in New York. You can go see The Tonight Show. You can go see Seth Meyers. Although who would want to? I don't know. I guess all the boring people that live in New York now want to see Seth Meyers. But anyway, because it's full of rich. I mean, this is another thing I want to get to is like how New York is sort of like not. I mean, when I tried to move here in 2009 and everything was expensive then, I brought savings, and it occurred to me like one of the things that's probably like distorting the real estate market here is like it just seemed impossible to get a job. And this is something I was reading this Reddit thread about. It was landlords talking about who gives applications, who applies for apartments in New York. And it was saying, you know, over a lot of the applications they get are trust fund kids. Their parents are paying their rent, right? Basically, this is like the cliche. And they said that a lot of these people do have jobs, but their jobs, like, they make so little money that they couldn't actually afford the market rate of how much their apartment costs, right? Like they've got a job like I have basically, or like, they work at some nonprofit, they work for some legacy institution, they're an intern and they get paid, not commensurate with, the real estate market of how much everything fucking is here because it's super expensive. But the reason why it's so distorted is because of this money sort of being brought in from elsewhere, right? Like it's not really like being made here. It's not, there's no economy here that's creating that really. It's like people's parents are sending that money in, and no one who has an actual job can even afford a fucking place to live because it's so fucking expensive. And not that that makes it like inherently uninteresting, but I don't know. It's in being amongst that culture, and I think that's one reason why everything kind of is not made well now, is because it's not really based on making something well. It's just like if you're a rich person, you can start a business because you can lose tons of money on it and still survive. And so, a mom and pop isn't going to be able to pay $30,000 a month in rent or $50,000 a month in rent. I mean, I read there was some New York history blog where I was reading something. It said, this small business had a 30-year lease in like the 1930s or whatever. That was like the terms that they were offering you. You would have the same amount of rent for 30 years in your brick and mortar. Now it's like people bring in money that either they've saved up or their parents gave them or whatever, and they open like a pop-up shop because that's all they can afford. They can afford to have a store for like 2 months. And now with the influencer economy, I mean, that distorts it even more because those people are bringing money in from the internet, from all over the fucking world. And those jobs are also very tenuous. It's like if they ban TikTok, suddenly there's going to be a lot of people who like have like a high amount of discretionary income, and that's just going to disappear. And we're all trying to figure out how to do that. We're all trying to influence each other and monetize it and get paid. We're just warming up, people, okay? It takes about 45 minutes. I get nervous. I don't know. Maybe that's why it's like I'm negative manifesting. It's like they shouldn't put this little number on your goddamn screen. It's like a scoreboard or something. It's like I'm constantly looking at the fucking I'm covering it with my finger now. I need a piece of tape or something to cover this little, because I've disabled the chat. I mean, it really doesn't matter how many people are watching or anything like that. I mean, it's just like when 4 people are watching, it's like, oh my God, I better do something fucking smart right now. I can't just like I've been rambling, kind of trying to find my footing here and say something. I'm all over the goddamn map subject wise. Um, It's okay. This is about real human magic and the workings of the mind, just kind of concocting all of this, combining it all together and improvising, god damn it. Everything's expected to be to I don't know, to be perfect or to not waste your time now, and it's like I don't know, there should be long solos, there should be wandering, there should be meandering, there should be daydreaming, finding it, not knowing what you're going to say, not having it. That was the thing about the Daily Show is so it's kind of an obsolete model of doing things, although I guess in a certain way all of these institutions, the Tonight Show or even Saturday Night Live, they've almost just become studios to make fucking clips for fucking social media. It's like even Saturday Night Live knows that, like, the fact that more people saw that Marcello skit on goddamn TikTok, probably, than saw it live. And more people probably see Fallon. I mean, Fallon has designed his shit for social media for a long time. And so they bring audiences in. This is the way they used to have to do it, right? This was the best way to, like, just, like, film shit was like, oh, you get a fucking TV studio in New York City and you bring 20, 100 people in to watch, to get live energy, to get laughter, to get you're part of the show. That's what they kept telling us. You ready to make some television? You guys are part of the show. So we want you to be loud. We want you to be enthusiastic, energetic, responsive. I'm glad that the Daily Show exists. I think it was definitely crucial during the fucking Bush years. Jon Stewart and Colbert back in the day. I don't know what we would have done without them, to be honest. That was before podcasting, before Chapo, uh, Comedy Central, cable. It's interesting to me that Jon Stewart chose to do that show because, Jon Stewart probably could have done network, right? That's kind of what Larry Sanders is about. Jon Stewart is the network is pushing Jon Stewart. They want to get rid of Larry because Jon Stewart is like the cool Gen X, young. They knew he was kind of anointed. Carlin kind of chose Jon Stewart as his sort of like somebody he thought was good. And he could have been a successor to, I don't know. He could have been on the Late Show or something. It could have been Jon Stewart instead of Craig Kilborn or Tom Schneider, for crying out loud. In fact, I think that was part of why Letterman chose Tom Schneider. I think the network probably, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure Jon Stewart was part of the conversation. And I think the story is Letterman did not want somebody who could take his job. That's why he chose Tom Schneider. He chose an old guy who was sort of had that show in the 70s. I know they tune into my YouTube for the hot Tom Schneider takes. But the most hated man in New York open mic poetry right here, everybody. The most controversial. Yeah, but he chose to go on Comedy Central, which, was a small, basic cable was sort of like a joke. They're always making jokes about how few people watch, and just like me, just how like I'm making jokes about how few people watch, except they had like 200,000 viewers or something. I've got 2. But it was sort of the backwater of big time mass media. And I mean, Jon Stewart, they went and held Bush accountable. I mean, Colbert going and doing the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2006. I don't know what the hell happened to Colbert, but the dude had some stones. For the Gen Z kids out there who haven't seen it, Colbert was actually funny. When you guys were like, in elementary school and shit, Colbert was actually funny. I don't know what happened. He became the DNC. They're all kind of the DNC. Being at the Daily Show felt like being at the DNC in a way. Everything's fucking red, white, and blue. And they had this like playlist that they were playing. I don't know. Was it Obama's playlist? It felt like some kind of like it's Michelle Obama's playlist, or it's like it's exactly what they probably played at the Kamala rallies. It was Kendrick, of course. They not like us. What kind of message is that? I don't know. I like the Super Bowl halftime show. We're gonna get. I guess I liked it most because it pissed off all the right people. It's like all the old white MAGA people are like, "What the fuck is this? Worst halftime show ever." There was a lot of hidden messages. Okay, you didn't understand it. You know, the A minor. I don't know. I thought it was like a poetry reading, to be honest. It was so lyrical. It was lyrical kind of foremost. And he chose to play songs that weren't the hit, the mega, like every other Super Bowl halftime show. It's a medley of all the greatest hits. How many can we fit into 12 minutes? He chose to do something different and say what he believed and use that platform. I mean, Beyonce, I don't watch it every year. The last one I remember seeing was Beyonce, and hers was super political. It was like Black Panthers, and somehow the Super Bowl halftime show has become like this like radical left Black Panther rally, which is great. That's what it should be. But it's also like, I mean, I think the NFL is uh they know who their fan base is. Uh but the old white people didn't like it. Which, I don't that's resistance. That was activism. I noticed they didn't show Taylor Swift like after the beginning of the game. They didn't show really any of the celebrities. I guess because it was just too painful. Did she leave halfway through? Did she ghost him? She got the ick, and I mean that was like the biggest case of getting the ick I could possibly imagine. Like more people are watching this Super Bowl game than anything ever, and they just get their asses handed to them. To the fact that people are questioning their entire legacy. Like people thought the Chiefs were this in the GOAT conversation. Is it Brady or Mahomes? Who's the GOAT? That conversation's over. I mean, I do think it's the kind of thing that it's not going to necessarily bring new people in. Like a lot of the left wing's tactics are like to push people away or something. There's something about what they do that's like it is kind of like forced. And it's like they're trying to mandate from the top down something which should happen organically, like race relations, like wokeness. The thing I think that a lot of people just sort of like it just feels like this artificial thing that they're trying to overlay. Um and I don't know. I mean, not that it's my business to talk about, but y- it's like Kendrick Lamar is not like the fucking Temptations or something, like it's not Motown. It's not like music that's necessarily designed to like make white people happy. It's like he has a political message. I mean, he's going after Drake because he's a PDF file or whatever. He's a predator. And that's sort of tied in with the Diddy thing and the DNC and Epstein's Island and all of that kind of major politically motivating narrative that is like a big part of why people have gone for Trump. I mean, candidates like Bernie and Trump, I think, were not possible in the era of like the Daily Show. The mainstream media would have shut Trump down so fast, and they did. I mean, he ran for president in 2000. I remember at the same time Hulk Hogan ran for president on Nitro. Trump like threw his hat in the ring like as an independent or something, and he got nowhere because the mainstream media just turned the fucking faucet off. Whereas like now the internet kind of enables all these the rumor, rumor and innuendo. Now that's what the internet is like, this gossip, you know. There's no fact checking, there's no objectivity. Things that, NBC, Dan Rather, or well, he got fired. I guess that's a bad example. Or Brian Williams. Oh wait, never mind. That's also a bad example. Well, Dan Rather got fired for George W. Bush for exposing George W. Bush, right? Like they didn't like that or I don't know, didn't he got fired because he had false information or something, or at least that was the Republican outrage. I think that's why Dan Rather, he had these reports about Bush and the Air National Guard or something. And so he got pushed out at CBS because the Republicans kind of slimed him as like being a dishonest journalist, as if they give a fuck. That's their bread and butter now, is dishonest alternative facts. Alex Jones and shit like that. And so, I mean, in a certain way, there's like no need for the Daily Show anymore. People are cutting the cord with their fucking cable and shit. It's basically, they're watching on Paramount Plus, probably, I guess. And things like podcasts do what they do in a long form way that's more kind of contemporary. The Daily Show is basically just a studio to film clips for social media in a certain way. It's like, I mean, now that Jon Stewart is back, there's a reason why he's there one day a week. And there's a reason why he was kind of this, and still is, this kind of like pop culture. I don't know. He's an important voice. He's a comedian, right? He's an instance of a left-wing comedian who's sort of using his power and his articulation and his intelligence to fight, for what he believes in. And, in an era of Fox News and, like I said, especially during Bush era, and now once again in this, it's like Jon Stewart really is, one of the best fucking sources. And so it's good to have him back on his weekly thing. And he does the Daily Show once a week where he can just sort of dunk on fucking it's basically a slam dunk contest. That's like all the Daily Show is. It's like, let's dunk on fucking right-wing people in the news. And we saw this guy, Jordan Klepper. He was the host, because they do this thing now. Like, the vibe I get from the Daily Show is it's sort of this brand that it's an institution. It's not really as relevant as it was. I mean, at a certain point in like the late 2000s, pop culture was like dominated by people who started out as like fucking correspondents on the Daily Show. It wasn't just Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart wasn't even the biggest. I mean, it was fucking Colbert, right? Was a fucking correspondent on the Daily Show, and Steve Carell, right, who became a huge fucking movie star, which was not really expected from somebody who was like, I mean, he was literally a fake news reporter. He wasn't even the fucking host of the show or anything. It's on basic cable. And somehow, I mean, for a certain period, in the prime of The Office, Steve Carell was in like every bad movie. He was in like Welcome to Erewhon or whatever that movie is. He was in that movie with the pancakes, whatever that was. I mean, he was in Little Miss Sunshine, which was sort of a fake indie film. It was sort of like a pseudo Bill Murray performance. I mean, he's an anchorman, for Christ's sake. And I mean, there's a reason why. The Daily Show was just tapped into something. There was sort of this like organic network of fucking liberal people from The Onion, comedy writers, UCB people, stand-up comedy people, Second City. Both those guys came out of Second City, and they were sketch comedians and improv comedians, I guess, are really good at that fake interviews. And I guess that's this Jordan Klepper's guy's background. He was okay. You could tell I read the Wikipedia of the article when they started, because I like Craig Kilborn. My favorite host of The Daily Show, I know that's going to sound insane, but my favorite host of The Daily Show is Craig Kilborn, who ironically went on to host the Late Late Show, and not Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart took over The Daily Show, and Craig Kilborn went to CBS. That's kind of weird to think that they didn't just have Jon Stewart on CBS, but they got Craig Kilborn instead. Everybody remembers him, right? I like Craig Kilborn. He's an old school. I liked Five Questions. Five Questions was cool. I wish they still did that. But he was kind of a mimbo, I guess. He was like a tall basketball player dude. He kind of looked like Trump. If you told me Craig Kilborn, he would be like Trump's favorite kid, I think. If he was actually Trump's kid. He's like he's like the good version of like what that would be. It wasn't political, but so this Wikipedia article was talking about the show was not really meant to be host centric in the beginning. It was meant to be content centric. And when Jon Stewart came in, it became more about his, Craig Kilborn shit was like more like celebrity gossip and like entertainment industry stuff. It was not a political show that much. A little bit. It certainly wasn't what it became with Jon Stewart, which was like this kind of like bulwark of the left. And this, I mean, it was in a certain way the equivalent of Bill O'Reilly. Not that they were lying, but it was just like it was the cable voice of the part, that part of the partisan fucking order or whatever. But that sort of feels like what it like now. They have like these rotating hosts who are just sort of like, I don't know, sketch comedy actors or something. And it seems like it's probably a cash cow for Comedy Central. That's one reason why they want to keep it alive. I mean, I haven't seen Comedy Central in fucking decades, but as far as I know, Daily Show is probably maybe South Park. There's not too many shows that are still on Comedy Central that have been airing since the fucking 90s, I don't think. Probably South Park and fucking Daily Show, and Dr. Katz went off a long time ago. And so it's, it feels like it's trapped in 2008. When I was there, it felt like Obama era. It just felt like they kind of want to go back to that, or they're stuck in that. And I don't know. I don't know the exact, story behind what goes on behind the scenes at the Daily Show, but it seems like a lot of white liberal, well-meaning people, probably from the Midwest, like Colbert and like Steve Carell. Colbert's from South Carolina, but he's provincial. People from all 50 states. And the guest was Jesse Eisenberg, which was, I mean, I've seen Jesse Eisenberg on the street in New York like a few times, 2 or 3 times, like just kind of out and about in the West Village. So it wasn't really that exciting for me. He's kind of my arch nemesis. He has like the career that I should have had. That's my sad and I don't know. It was like there's all this fucking security. The security at the Daily Show is like completely out of control. There's like they make you take off your fucking belt. They're going through my bag. They saw my mushrooms. They saw my fucking all the weed I had in my bag. They made you have to wait outside for like we waited outside in the cold for like an hour and a half to get in. It was okay. Everybody in the audience, they have this guy come in and who does crowd work, and he's just like a little bit better than like a hack open mic comedian who's like 50 and been doing it forever. I mean, I'm sure Jon Stewart this guy's probably been doing the opening for the Daily Show since the fucking 90s. And all he does is crowd work. He just comes in and asks everybody where they're from. That's basically all he does. Hey, where are you from? What do you do? Oh, you're a teacher. There were a lot of teachers there. A lot of the people in the crowd. It was interesting to get to know the crowd because it was a lot more like touristy. I guess I should have expected that. It's in Midtown. I guess that's who they want at these television tapings is like people who are staying in Times Square or something, and they'll go to the Tonight Show, and so everybody in the crowd was from all over the world. There were people from Denmark. I forget where else, but there was nobody in the crowd was from New York that he talked to, which was kind of a surprise to me. And I think it's something that New Yorkers, I think, are sleeping on is these free tapings. It's like I'm going to shows all the time. I'm going to open mics. I'm going to poetry readings. I'm going to this, going to that. Might as well go see the fucking Tonight Show and just see how they do it. See what you can learn from it, See how they run their show. Oh, apparently McCartney played Bowery Ballroom last night. Did people hear about this? McCartney like announced like a secret one-night show at Bowery Ballroom like at noon yesterday. And I guess you could get tickets like one per person. But it's interesting because we were just on that stage a month ago. Ashley and I, right? They brought us on stage at the Bowery Ballroom in January to do the David Berman to bless the Hot Wheels. So we were on the same stages of fucking McCartney, the ultimate, one of the living gods. He's probably, it's either McCartney or Dylan, but I don't know. I think in a certain way you got to go with McCartney. I don't know. He might be the pinnacle of living artists in a certain way. Like, even though I think Dylan is like probably a stronger artist in a certain way, McCartney is like, I don't know. He's just an important world fucking leader of like peace, love, everything he stands for. I feel like is positive. He's probably one of the few things that like most of the fucking human race can agree on. I mean, most people like the Beatles, right? Not everybody, but people all over the fucking world. McCartney can play anywhere and there's going to be 500,000 people there. Mexico City, and he's made music all over the world, right? And so thank God he's still out playing concerts, man. Thank God McCartney is still keeping those songs alive and just like being a beacon of fucking light in a world of increasing darkness. At least the Chiefs lost the fucking Super Bowl. Jesus Christ. Some things we can celebrate. I was getting pretty sick of that. This guy's just winning, winning, winning. Do you really think Taylor Swift was going to marry this guy? I don't. That was just like the sunny optimism of the Biden era. Everybody was like euphoric from the pandemic money and the near-death experience, having lived through it, having lived through Trump the first time and being released back into the neoliberal safety of the Democratic Party, which we love so much, which protects us from the Nazis and the South African. I mean, come on, these guys are all apparently okay. So apparently, like, if you go back and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and all of them, they're all from Germany. Their family was from Germany. They're like ex-Nazis that moved to fucking South Africa to these communities where it was like the last bastions of fucking white supremacy, you know. These people apparently would greet each other with Sieg Heil. And they're South African exiled Yahtzee communities. So it is fucking real. You know, it does feel like plausible and you know, it's just interesting to me that culture has become like a tool of the right, and like there's some perception that like the right is winning the culture war. I mean, particularly with comedy, right? Because comedy, it did feel like there was some sense that it was sort of like a left wing, or people like Jon Stewart, people like Mark Maron back in the fucking 90s, or I don't know, even George Carlin kind of is like this hippie bearded fucking drug addict, like in the Nixon era. It's like, it's weird that it became this like right wing fucking. I mean, I guess to some degree that was always there, like show business, things like Don Rickles or roast comedy, Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, Rodney Dangerfield could enjoy having a good time. He liked smoking weed and partying and stuff, but I mean, Dice and fucking Sam Kinison are pretty fucking right wing, super homophobic. Uh, Trump is really just kind of like a version of that. Just say the most fucking like startling. I don't know. What the hell are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? I think the resistance now is just like living your life. You know, I think the first time the resistance, the idea was like we need to like be hyper alert, hyper vigilant, react to everything, fight everything. And now it's just like the resistance is just like we're sort of acclimated to it, you know, like that's part of hyper normalization is like it's not as shocking anymore. Like we've been through this once. I mean, it is shocking what they're doing now. It's just like onslaught of like highly unconstitutional uh sweeping changes that they're making. And you know, I think the left was going from like really not paying that much attention or just sort of being carefree about it. They didn't show up for Kamala. They weren't scared of like another Trump. Everybody sort of like Trump, the way Trump campaigned and even the way he talks about shit is like very misleading. You know, it's like he talks in these terms like he's fucking Gandhi or something. He's like, we're gonna take Gaza, we're gonna own it. It's gonna be ours. We're not gonna have to buy it, and we're gonna we're gonna hold it, and we're gonna caress it, and we're gonna cherish it. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're gonna cherish it, we're gonna caress it. We want a bill of love, you know. And it's like this is not what he wants. He does not want like peace and love and like there's gonna be a lot of suffering. And we're starting to see it, right? I mean, like, the the campaign was like this lie. I mean, this is why it's bad that he's a liar, because he can tell you he's going to lower the price of eggs and he's going to tackle inflation day one. He's going to end the war in Ukraine day one within 24 hours. Then when he gets elected, well, actually, inflation is like harder than you'd think, and all these tariffs are going to be a fucking disaster. I mean, why didn't people talk more about this? You know, this is what the campaign should have been about. Everything that people are talking about now, that's what the campaign should have been about. It shouldn't have been about, oh, look, Trump's working at McDonald's. Isn't that cute? Haha, he's at McDonald's. Isn't that nuts? Kamala actually worked at fucking McDonald's. Trump's dancing to YMCA. I saw this clip with Shane Gillis talking about he felt betrayed. He's like surprised. He thought Trump was going to be this peacemaker on Gaza. It's like, he's a big fucking reason why people think Trump is funny and cool, because of his impression. And, SNL wanted to invite him to do his fucking impression. It's like, that is fucking shining the boots of the goddamn dictator. It's canoeing. I'm canoeing here, everybody. We're canoeing. I'm all over the fucking place today. That's okay. That's what the universe wants. The universe speaking through me, okay? I'm channeling from source, okay? It's not me, it's source. Blame source, okay? If you think this sucks, blame source. It's not me. I've got a lot of people trying to, to get, there's a lot to I don't know. There's just there's too much happening. You can't even respond to all of it because it's like, holy shit. And this gets the Trump people excited because they're like, yeah, that's what he said he'd do. He's going, he's kicking ass. And yet, wait till the prices of everything explode. The price of fuel is going to go up. The price of housing is going to go up. The price of everything is going to fucking go up. The price of cars. So hopefully this launches us hard into some kind of new left-wing movement, like the first time kind of did. I think a lot of this right-wing push now in these tech oligarchs, it's a reaction to what happened during the pandemic. The pandemic, there was a lot of socialism that happened because of Bernie and because of that being a part of the conversation for the first time, because of the internet and Twitter and all that shit. Is like, people were talking about wealth redistribution, taxing the rich, and general strike. When the pandemic happened, it's like suddenly all of these radical left-wing policies did sort of get instituted by Trump, sending everybody all this money, suspending work, remote, forcing everybody to work remotely, work from home. Suddenly, workers and poor people in this country had a little bit of choice. We were getting so much unemployment from the government because of the shutdown that it was like, oh, I don't have to go back to work. I can just sort of coast on my savings. The rents in the big cities all plunged because the demand suddenly, dropped because people were fleeing the big cities. And in the rural areas, it was the opposite. All of the housing that nobody wanted that was cheap exploded in value because people from the cities were taking the 20 grand that they got from the fucking government in one lump sum and putting a down payment on a fucking house upstate or someplace they could socially distance. And so I think the tech oligarchs said, we can't have these fucking people working from home. We can't have, these people have to to do what we say and for work what we want to give them and work on our terms. And we've got to stop this conversation about taxing the rich. And Trump is the opposite. He's going to cut taxes on the rich. He's going to raise taxes on the poor people. And tariffs are going to be another way of transferring wealth from the poor to the fucking rich. Just like inflation, they benefit from it because we are going to pay the bill. The tariffs, they're going to pass the costs along to us, the consumer. They're going to raise the price of everything so they don't lose money. So everything's going to be way more fucking expensive, but they'll get richer. It's like when inflation went up, so did the profits. Those people were making more money than they ever did because they could raise the prices of everything because of increased demand, because of the increased, cash in the fucking system or whatever. It's all bullshit. That's their excuse for something they want to do is raise prices. The prices are never going back down. They will never lower the prices. And it's only going to get worse. That's the fucked up part. And so what do? We we fucking live stream against it. The Daily Show, I don't know, it felt uncool, I'll tell you that. The Daily Show is an example of something that I feel like is trying to force, Trevor Noah was okay and everything, but he was no fucking Jon Stewart. Not that anybody is, but now they have this sort of rainbow coalition of hosts that do one day a week, and they're all talented people. They're all funny. I like Ronnie Chang. I think he's hilarious. There was another correspondent that was really funny. I didn't know their name. I think they're queer, probably, maybe. And then they've got the tall white guy, Jordan Klepper. He's 6'4". He's got the worst. I mean, he's got the JD Vance manicuring. He's got this really overly manicured millennial beard that's shaved and comb. He probably combs it. It looks like he puts conditioner in his beard. And he's got this coif. His hair almost looks alt-right. There's something about millennial style. He looks like fucking Chris Pratt or whichever one played Captain America. They both have this horrible self-grooming regimen. Whatever the hell they do is super ugly and cheesy. But that's very 2010s, I feel like. It looks like millennial minimalism to me, and it fits that whole kind of era. Brooke Linen. And I don't look like that. My style is more hipster, more edge chopped. I'm a dinosaur at this point, which I'm fine. We had a real fucking culture. I don't, now everything is fixed. Everything is kind of bought and sold in a fake economy that rich people control. And they control who gets seen. It's all Nepo babies. There is no meritocracy whatsoever. That's why The Daily Show sucks. I mean, even these fucking Chapo kids are they're all Nepo babies. They're all their parents work for the fucking New York Times, the New Yorker. They grew up on the Upper West Side. They're very savvy because they grew up in the center of the fucking media industry when that was when that really meant something. The rest of us are just playing catch up, and the game has changed. Maybe I'll read some fucking poetry. I don't know. I think we're doing good work here. You know, the thing is, when you're on stage and you're nervous or like you do something that doesn't work, those they're the hardest moments, but like they're the ones you learn the most from. Or like they're the ones that are really helping you because you're trying something that maybe you didn't like this Monday. I did like Tony Roberts impression, which nobody understood at all and was kind of forced. And I said something kind of awkward about how he was dead on stage. And you could feel the audiences are so fucking uptight, man. They're so goddamn uptight. Their expectations are high. You know, people don't really know how to enjoy themselves anymore. They're everyone is a critic and our, you know, empowerment is like liking. And what am I clicking? What am I giving my attention to? Is this good enough? Is this impressing me? Is this immediate gratification? No, fuck you. And they're super stingy, obviously, about politics and everything. They're super uncomfortable. They're super nervous, super anxious. And so, you know, when you're on stage and you're trying something like me, I've started to do more impressions, just kind of because it's something that's like a little harder to do. But I noticed that people respond to it. And if it works, like my Elvis Costello doing Muppet Babies was probably like, I don't know, people actually like that. Not that I give a fuck what people like, but they like the dumbest shit. You know, I know that's an excuse from time immemorial, but like people like dumb shit. That's why they voted for fucking Trump. Because they thought him working at McDonald's. I mean, that they were playing in the fucking Instagramosphere. I mean, that is a fucking social media post. That's everything now is like a cosplay for content, you know? Set it up so it looks good on Instagram and let's take some fucking pictures so daddy can secure the bag. Get that brand partnership with Skims. Need that Skims partnership. Kim Kardashian, call me. No, you don't call me, actually. You MAGA fucking scum. I can't wait till the pendulum fucking... The blowback, I think, is going to happen immediately. People are going to immediately realize how uncool being MAGA is. It's so fucking not cool. Like, they're just... You want to hang out with Tucker and fucking Elon? Not me. They think they can buy being cool. And I guess they sort of have. But so yeah, I mean, I think you should be trying, you know, when you have those awkward moments on stage, when you bomb, it's a sound of pain exiting your body. That's your soul getting stronger. The roots are growing, you know. Sometimes the branches grow and sometimes the roots grow. But when the roots grow, it makes you stronger, gives you a stronger foundation because you have more reference experiences in your reticular activation system. And so you know, that's why all experience, right, is and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is good experience because your body is accessing that when you're in further situations that are testing your reaction or your uh you know, that's wisdom. It's wisdom mind. You're earning wisdom by, you know, because we judge what we do and what we expect to happen based on what has happened in the past. That's our evidence for our arguments about what's going on in the world or how things work or, our ways of doing things. It's like, okay, I tried this, people reacted this way, so let me try something different next time, or that worked and I'll do it again. Um, I don't know. I was never that big a fan of The Daily Show. I was never that big a reader of, like, The Onion. Like, The Daily Show was always funny but uh I like Your Moment of Zen. I remember fucking Craig Kilborn interviewing Bill Murray on there but what do we do now? We have to create new fucking cultural institutions on the left. We need to build our YouTube channels and our TikToks. We need to follow each other. That's solidarity. Watch my podcast, okay? That is resistance. Follow, like, and subscribe. That is resistance, okay? You want to fight Trump? We need to build a left-wing culture online that's actually cool. I mean, what is it? Is it Brad Neely or is it who is spending that much time online on the left? Is it alt-writers on Twitter? Because now they're all MAGA. I think this is part of the problem of New York City being full of trust fund children, is there's no place for writers to meet and organize on the left because the trust fund kids are all Republicans. They're rich. Their parents are Republicans. They don't want to pay taxes. They hate the poors. And everybody's got this aspirational life. Everybody wants to be rich now. It's like cool to be right. This is everybody wants to be old money. I was watching this video about trad wife and trad cath and all this dumb shit that Gen Z like thinks is cool and edgy. They think that's edgy, and it pisses off. It pisses off the libs, and it pisses off the old people, the lame millennials. They voted for Obama. What can we do to rebel against the fucking lame millennials? Oh, we'll be MAGA. Like, how fucking stupid. Or they all like, this is something I was thinking about. Like Andy Warhol, right, was sort of, he set the standard in a certain way culturally for the last, through Velvet Underground and shit in a lot. But his philosophy, right, was be rich but dress poor, right? That was sort of his famous, dressed like ripped jeans, leather jacket, striped shirt, sunglasses, but be rich. He lived in a fucking townhouse on the Upper East Side, like on Lexington Avenue or something. Like, he lived near the 92nd Street Y. Like, he didn't live in fucking the East Village. He lived uptown with fucking Epstein and Les Wexner and Soros and the Upper East Side, like, who all real New Yorkers know. It's the best neighborhood. Now it's like, it's cool to dress rich. To look rich, to be rich, to flaunt that, right? There's all these things in the heightening wealth inequality. There's all these things that are like status flexes about, like, showing that you're rich. Like, oh, reading is one way of, like, differentiating, like being in the fucking Emma Roberts book club or the Kaya Gerber book club or the Reese Witherspoon book club or whatever the fuck it is. It's a subtle flex about showing your status socioeconomically. And but on the converse side, I think poor people want to seem rich or something. Like, all these MAGA people they're not all rich. Like, there's an aspirational quality to, like, oh, I'm part of the club. I'm MAGA, so I'm like, I'm like rich too. Like, I'm some fabulous, like, I'm so fucking rich. Like, I'm just like, fuck you, the environment. I'm like in a private jet. I don't care. That's my status symbol, is like, I'm a fake tan. I've got Mar-a-Lago face. I got fillers and Botox. Or like, okay, I saw this video. It was about the working class has achieved the Kardashianification of the body. Now, poor people can get BBLs and filler and all of that fake Kardashian body shit, giant everything, ass implants. So rich people, now it's about Ozempic body. That's like your status indicator. It's no longer BBL and filler or whatever, the Botox. Now you show everybody you're rich by having Ozempic face like Ariana Grande or whatever, or Elon Musk, or all of the people that we have to fucking see every day in the goddamn mainstream media that just like is like a fucking just a publicity service for the worst fucking most annoying people. I mean, we've had to hear it was bad. I mean, I've been complaining about Elon Musk on here since at least 2016, at least. And it was bad how much we had to hear about him then. And people thought he was like this fucking Tony Stark genius. Grimes, he's having a kid with Grimes. It's like, ugh, get this fucking guy off my feed. And it's like now it's 100 times worse. The dude is everywhere. He's this fucking psycho. Why does he need all this goddamn attention? He's so fucking creepy and uncharismatic. His speech in the Oval Office, that's why he needs Trump. Trump is like the charismatic. He's the fucking shaman kind of, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. We're going to have the most beautiful inflation. We're going to have the greatest inflation. We're going to have the most beautiful internment camps. They're going to be so beautiful. We're going to cherish, the genocide. It's a very loving genocide. We're full of love and mercy for these people that we need to kill. It's going to be so beautiful. All the death, the bombs killing babies. It's going to be so beautiful and great. It's going to be terrific. It's going to be tremendous. But Elon, he's like, what? It's about caring and whatever the fuck he said. It's like he's trying to be like some meme or something. It's like, dude, you suck. You sucked on Saturday Night Live. You're not funny. You're weird. You cannot speak extemporaneously. You're not charismatic at all. You are fucking creepy as hell. You look like an alien wearing a fucking skin suit. You look like Kang and Kodos. Abortions for some, souvenir, what does he say, for others? Just throw your vote away. I don't know, man. People have gotten so fucking cynical about politics. We are in for it. Because now, I mean... Let me read some fucking poetry. What else did I need to talk about? Oh, boy. We're fighting hard, okay? We're working through our goddamn limitations. Pushing ourselves through our comfort zones. Trying new things, there's no safety net. There's no social safety net. There's no safety net of any kind. Okay? This is a high wire act here. We're living on the edge. Oh God, I don't know. It's like it's senseless to talk about this shit. You're just giving these people more attention. It's a hostile takeover. The only thing that can really stop it is if Congress steps in, like they've already introduced articles to impeach the guy again, and the courts. The courts are really, the Supreme Court. We're gonna see. I mean, they've already given the guy immunity, more or less. I think that's one of the reasons why they're going in with the way they're going in, is because they do feel like no one's going to stop them. And I don't think anyone is gonna stop them. I mean, the Republicans think that this is, like, something they've waited for a long time. Like, finally, somebody's gonna go in and get rid of the government waste and just, like, there's $36 trillion in debt. Like, these people give a shit. The Republicans are always the ones that explode the deficit. Anyone who's not a fucking moron, if you read the statistics, you know that. The Democrats balance the budget, probably even create a surplus. The Republicans tank it. They run on debt. They run on deficit spending, and it doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter because the United States is such a rich fucking country. It's not the reason why shit is expensive. The reason why shit is expensive is because of fucking capitalism. Unchecked, unregulated, predatory capitalism, which is only going to get worse. We're seeing it before our fucking eyes. Apparently, this is what Herbert Hoover tried to do. A lot of Trump's policies are similar to Herbert Hoover and the Republicans that got elected in 1928. They tried to do tariffs because they were trying to do what Trump is doing, where it's like go back to the Gilded Age and these fucking weird tariffs and I don't even know what. Create this wealth fund and basically, I guess, undo what FDR did because FDR came in right after that, right, and created Social Security and what the income tax was created in like the 1910s. So they want to go back to an era before all of that shit, and probably even before the Federal Reserve. Maybe I mean, when was the Federal Reserve established? It was like the early 1900s, right, or was it before that? I mean, is that something that Hamilton did? Let's see. 1913, the central banking system, created after a series of financial panics, led to the desire for central control over the monetary system in order to alleviate financial crises. Okay. I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking and learning about this, and I really barely have no idea how it works. I think that's how it works. It's just like nobody knows. They can make up whatever fucking rules they want. And it's strategic, the programs that they're cutting. They're not just cutting shit that's like waste. They're cutting shit that like this US aid is like it's soft power. And oh, God, I don't know. Fuck it. Who cares? We're fucked, people. It's that simple. We're fucked. We are fucked. Have a good time and do whatever you have to do to stay out of. I mean, good for the trust fund kids. Be more left wing. I don't know. Uh, why is Ben Fama like the number one fucking millennial poet or whatever? It sucks. Why do people glamorize rich, vapid celebrity emptiness? Talent is not. It's a hindrance. I think people. It just people don't want to be. Uh, hindered by they don't want to be all it's going to put a hitch in just looking at pictures of you on the internet, your BBL or whatever, your Kardashian ass and your makeup fucking tutorial. Apparently girls do makeup for each other. They don't do it for us. That hyper aggressive makeup that like looks ridiculous and when they dress that way, they're doing that for each other. That's some kind of girl thing that, like, they understand that, like, they're, like, assessing, like, "Oh, she's got this foundation that costs XYZ, and how did she do that, and what is it?" And I don't know. Uh, I encourage men to listen to podcasts hosted by women. I think it's kind of amazing, actually, that, like, that's you can I think you learn better, and I don't know, it's just like it's uh, like Joe Rogan never has women on. It's such a talk about manosphere. It's so gendered, right? I mean, it's like, does Theo Vaughn have women on? Do any of these guys? Do Andrew Schultz have women on? Is this sort of like the man cave? This is like where guys go to like, oh yeah, or it's just like that's the only way we can communicate. The genders are so at war with each other that it's just like, oh fuck, I can't even listen to women. I can't even have women on my podcast. It's like, how fuck that. I just want to listen to a bunch of fucking proto-Nazi skinhead mixed martial artists and pseudoscientists and conspiracy theorists. And people that kind of confirm, the kind of basic male whatever. I mean, men do typically skew more Republican. That's not really a new thing entirely. But it just feels like more exaggerated, or like it's more polarized. Just like everything is so fucking polarized now. But I'm just advocating people should. I know I never have anybody on my fucking podcast. It's literally just like a monomaniacal like gab fest. But whatever. I mean, and you don't have to watch. You can tune out at any time. You can fucking change your channel at any time, okay? You don't like it, change the fucking channel, okay? You don't like my extreme hot takes? Then sorry, snowflakes. I'm owning the libs here, okay? Wah, cry about it. Liberal tears, baby. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the Trump cleaning the fucking swamp, baby. I love seeing liberals cry about, oh, Palestinian. I don't know. It's fucked up. It's fucked up world, people. It's fucked up world. So yeah, I know there's not a whole lot of representation. But that's, I don't know, the point of doing this. I would like to have an interview show with guests, and I would have people of all races and creeds and walks of life on, definitely. But I don't know, just you can do that. You can listen you know to women's podcasts. Hear what they're thinking. It's like a free, well, it's just like everybody is so fucking like burnt out on dating. I mean, geez, or maybe it's just women. I don't know. Women just seem like they're so burnt out. They don't want to settle, but like it's not just like men are not developing themselves. It's like they've been left behind, just like culturally, economically. We're not able to fucking develop because we have no fucking jobs and no money, or like the people that do have jobs just work all the goddamn time, and then the government taxes them, so they hate it. And I mean, the thing about dating in New York is like you're not gonna find like your fucking. I mean, if you find your spouse, you leave. That's what everybody that I've known. It's like usually around like 30. They find somebody who like, because it's New York, everything's so expensive. You have to move in together, so everybody in New York like moves in with each other like really fast. And then it's like they get engaged and they move back to wherever they're from. That's like best case scenario dating in New York. Like if you're looking to get married, like that's probably your it's probably not that likely, I guess, unless you're like very wealthy, that you're gonna get married and like stay in New York and have kids here. And like if you do, I mean, the thing about New York and Los Angeles or whatever is like it's actually a great place to date if you like dating. There's shitloads of fucking hot, accomplished, like brilliant, amazing people here. Like it's an amazing place to date, but like you're not gonna find like, if you find like your spouse, then leave. Okay. Like it's not like, if you think you're gonna be, like, in a monogamous relationship here, like, it's hard. There's a lot of fucking options, and so, like, I guess, that's the vibe that I'm getting from a lot of women who are like, "Dating sucks in New York." Like, because the gu you're not well, guys will sleep with you, but, like, they won't date you, right? That's probably how it typically goes in New York. It's like some guy will hook up with you, but, like, he really doesn't want a relationship right now, and so that's why it sucks. It's all these fuck boys and, ghosting and all this shit, and, like, that's I don't know. I guess that's, like, not what women are looking for, but there's a lot of high quality guys. It's just like they fucking get laid a lot, so they don't want to be in a relationship because they're fucking 6'3" chads, who are finance bros who are making shitloads of money or God knows what. They're hyper successful, they're tight, I don't know, whatever it is. There's just hot people everywhere in New York. Like that's just and in probably a lot of these major cities. And so if you want to like fucking homestead with somebody, like that's a different thing than like dating. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess each gender has their respective problems, like women, they feel like I guess guys don't want to settle down or be committed or everybody's poly, I guess. That's like the solution to that is like, oh, I'm ethically polyamorous or in a throuple or we do threesomes or what, like whatever. That's an alternative solution, I suppose. Um, but I think you just have to like understand that's what dating in this place is. It's not like fucking, Grover's Corners or wherever. Like there's a lot of highly predatory giga chads. And I don't know, like that's you come to New York and you play for higher stakes. I don't know. It's like the highs are high, the lowers are low. It's like there's incredible people, there's incredible opportunities, there's a lot of competition, you know? That's another thing. And I think that is another thing that keeps people from settling or thinking they can attain some kind of perfect. I women's standards seem to be way more like there's like a checklist of items. It's like the guy needs a job, he needs, therapy or like, he needs to be working on himself or like he needs to be emotionally like a communicative, he needs to understand, he needs to have emotional intelligence. Um he needs to be 6'3" or at least 6 feet tall, is like a common, you know, like that is like the basic requirements. And so it's like they think that we're all just like not good enough because we don't meet those standards. And to be honest, like our social conditioning has not been doing guys a lot of favors. There's been a lot of negative social conditioning about men for really the last, 20 fucking years, 15 years. And on the other hand, there's been a lot of positive social conditioning about women. So it's like women are very supportive of each other. They're all killing it. They have good jobs. They have clothes. They're all hot. They're all 5'7", because women are generally taller than men, I think, just kind of like chemically. And so they think, oh my God, there's all these hot girls that are like incredible. They're smart, they're well educated, they have great jobs, they live in cool neighborhoods. They're just cool people. They're doing cool shit with their life. They're healthy, they're not like They're not like men trying to men have been filled with all this toxic program and porn, is like made men sort of think they're hypersexualized and objectifying women and men are, and so men there's less, there's like this unbalance in the supply and demand. It's like there's way more high value women. There's not enough men, right? There's not enough and and it is frustrating as a person who's not 6 feet tall to just feel like you're not even like it's not even like a dating thing, but it's almost like you just don't even exist as a person. It's just like uh like Jordan Klepper is the fucking host of the Daily Show. He's this tall white guy. Like that gives you this fucking value. But it's like, is he as funny as Jon Stewart, who's 5'6"? Like, no. Um, so there's just a lot of frustration out there on both sides. And I don't know. A lot of it does feel like socially engineered. The social media, like, what is it, Vox Pop or whatever, where it's like, because it gets repeated on social media, it becomes something that just people believe, things that they want to put out there. I don't know, man. Let me read some fucking poetry, everybody. See, I'm losing viewers. See how hard it is? You leave it for one moment, and people just abandon you. But I also think social media like finds your weak point and like repeats it to you over and over again. So it's like something that you get it knows your triggers, right? So this is something it's embarrassing to even talk about, right? This like height thing. It's something I'm like an advocate for or something. I don't know. I feel like it's important to talk about or something because it's like it's so cringe and it's so like women are so unsympathetic towards it. It's just like with impunity in these comment section. I saw this comment today. It's like men in New York are either I don't even remember, ugly, broke, or 5'7". It's like, gee, okay, I didn't realize you felt that way my whole fucking life. I don't give a fuck. The thing is, you also see the comment that's like, I don't care how tall a guy is, but if he's angry about it, that's a big turnoff. It's like, I don't feel angry about how tall I am ever, ever, ever. Like I am totally secure. I've said this many times before. I love the size of my body. I always have. It's the only thing that sucks about it is that women don't like it. I had no idea. And it's just such a stupid thing. It's such a dumb reason to be attracted to somebody. Like women will give a guy the benefit of the doubt. They want it to work if he's like over 6 feet tall. They really want it to work. They'll go for him. They'll approach him. They'll flirt with him. I see it all the fucking time. But it's not just a romantic thing. It's also like a power thing in situations, in jobs, right? This is a problem with our whole civilization is tall white men are just looked on as like these kind of like self-assured authority figures, and they should have everything. And women enforce that probably more than anybody, to be honest, because those are the guys they want. Um, and the rest of us are just like disqualified. We're not even in the fucking conversation. And so what good are we as fucking people? And so people look at you like in a jobs, like for me, okay, I'm a videographer. It was like I couldn't really ever be the number one guy because the model, like I filmed like model shit, right? So it's like the models are all 5'10" or whatever. They want somebody who's, taller than them. And I get it. That's that job. That's fine. But it's also like people just kind of look at you like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just this little fucking, he's not in the conversation. And women reinforce that. Women reinforce that by being like, yeah, this guy's gross and invisible. Like he's just some short piece of shit. Like, and fuck short kings. Like, let's just like come up with a fucking societal way to like toss these fucking people, while the whole woke thing is going out of its way, to like sort of be Nazis about how you can talk about any fucking buddy else, the same people, the same white feminine women who are super fucking woke, like leftists, are like, well, fuck these short kings who are 5'7". God damn it. Dating sucks. Dating sucks. This guy's like, he's good looking. He's smart. He's funny. He's cool, but he's 5'7". Fuck this gross, fuck this gross creep. This guy's a creep. Yeah, that's right. I said it, everybody. It's just like, I don't know. That's social media creating. It's just such a pathetic thing to talk about. I'm sure it's very unappealing. Whatever. I don't give a goddamn. This is about, I don't know, just surfacing what needs to be talked about, what's in there, what's underneath the skin, what's in the mind, what's on the society's mind, what's in the societal conversation. What is the collective consciousness thinking about today? And poetry, 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 god damn it, at all costs. I don't care if it's awkward or uh take some time to get warmed up. Bear with us. I've been thinking about, because I saw that Watch What Happens Live, that Andy Cohen fucking show. I don't know about this guy. I saw him once in the West Village on the street. I've never seen any of the Real Housewives shows or any of that shit, but he's a household name, I'd say. Andy Cohen. He's on fucking New Year's Eve with Garrison, what's his name? Anderson Cooper. Garrison Cooper. Bradley Garrison. So this Watch What Happens Live is literally on, is it 5 days a week or is it 4? In any case, it's almost on every day for an hour. And it's live, apparently, which the Daily Show is not, and none of the talk shows are. They pre-tape it. The Daily Show is just a taping. They're just trying to get takes that they can, and it's already, it's already incredibly streamlined. It's a 22-minute show. So, like, by the time they film it, I mean, it's all very, very punchy. I like live kind of. So I don't know. This Watch What Happened Live. Like as I was sitting there watching the Daily Show, I was like, I don't really like this as an audience member. This kind of sucks. It's like they make you wait forever, and like they bring out this warm up guy who sucks, and they try to like connect with you and like make you a part of it, but like it's so packaged already. It's like they know their first commercial break is this long. They're gonna roll this fucking bumper, and then all the jokes, bam, 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 bam. They go to a clip thing, and then boom, commercial. And it's like, I don't know. That's the point of what that is. They're taping it for distribution on screens. But for me, I just realized, like, artistically, like, this is one of the reasons why I love live performance. I love long sets. I love being able to dig in. And I don't like, this is something as an actor, it just reminded me of how much I hated working on films in any kind of like official way because they just take so long. You're waiting around most of the time. It's this big machine. The Daily Show studio's got this whole lighting grid. They got all these stage hands bringing in fucking green screens and, uh, like we got there at 4:30. I think it was over by like 7:30. It's a 22-minute long show. And they're sort of taking you in and out of it. It's like, okay, now we're going into a commercial break, and now we come back, and he's got to be on for 2 minutes, and then it goes to another thing, and then there's like an interview, and the interview's like 4 minutes. It's like they got to cram a whole like fucking intellectual, meaningful conversation into like this like 4 minute. I think this is right. This is one of the things that podcasting or live streaming has sort of like shown us. It's like you can do club random. You can have a 2-hour or a 3-hour. In fact, people want that. They don't just want a 4-minute. They don't want the Daily Show anymore. It's not enough. They can't really unpack and grapple with what's going on. I mean, Trump is doing so much shit. It's like you need hours to fucking talk about it. The big thing they were talking about on the Daily Show yesterday was Eric Adams. They had a whole skit about Eric Adams getting some kind of electrolysis while he was holding a press conference. God damn it. Can we get rid of Eric Adams already? I mean, I know New York is MAGA all of a sudden. It's Yuppie, Gordon Gekko, Tom Wolfe, Bonfire of the Vanities, New York again, in Dime Square, at the Cruel Kids table. But can we fucking remove Eric Adams from office already? I mean, Jesus Christ, can we impeach? That's the least we could do. That's where we should start. Get rid of Eric Adams. Now that he's MAGA, like, just get rid of this fucking guy. He sucks. He got a pardon. It's insane. And there's always good spots among the bad spots and bad spots among the good spots. And you never know how something is affecting somebody. You might think you're doing terrible and you listen to it later and you're like, oh, that's not that bad. Or you might think you're killing and no one gives a fuck. It's usually what happens with me. I think, oh my God, I'm crushing. Crickets. I'm crushing here. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck the audience. Fuck the audience. I don't need to just pander to the mob. Okay. It's more, I don't know, just about sounding off your own point of view without judgment, putting it forth for your consideration. You don't have to like it, learn to love it. Let me cover my face with this microphone. I don't know. Since I've got the microphone, I think it's a listening experience, really. You're not really meant to. Don't look at me. Don't you fucking look at me. Do not fucking look at me. Okay. See, if you're not into that, you're not going to like watching this. That's okay. Okay. Go watch fucking Vlog Brothers or whatever the fuck it is. I'm the anti-Vlog Brothers, okay? This is the real deal here, okay? This is straight from the hip. We don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about. You know, I'd like to see the Daily Show do that. It was tight. It was a tight production, which, you know, that's what they have to do. But this is why I like live performances. So I like doing clubs and doing long sets, multiple sets. You know, that's kind of the ideal. You know, like bands, it's like they play a set, they take a break, they come back, they take another break. That's how it should be, kind of. 4 hours of playtime, you know, because then you get to develop the idea. I think this is one reason why music sucks now. You know, it's like, surprise, surprise, if you disincentivize it, which is essentially what you do if you get rid of the economics of it, there's no place for live players to make a living playing long periods of time every day. You know, in the 40s and 50s, you know, my grandparents were telling me there was this place in Columbus in the short north. It had two fucking, it's like KGB or something. It had two fucking venues. So it's like there was a jazz band upstairs and downstairs. It's like those were real people getting paid to play instruments and in front of people. So they're learning, they're getting better at their craft, they're stretching out, they're wood shedding, right, in a way, in front of people. You know, that's what all that, you know, so Charlie Parker could have an improvised kind of like approach to things and extrapolate and embellish and just fly. He could become the bird because he had all this air to walk on. You know, he could play, you know, fucking clubs in New York every night. You know, they'd play 4 hours or longer, maybe, you know, and then they'd go play someplace else. It's just like, as an artist, it's just like you need to get yourself into those kind of positions as quickly as possible. I mean, this open mic has really been life changing for me because I have a completely different attitude or relationship to being on stage now, which I only could have gotten by being on stage that much. You know, I was so fucking nervous on stage forever, and I couldn't really create like I'd like to create in the moment because there's so little opportunities for stage time. It's like we get these little open mic slots 5 minutes at a time, these little thimbles of stage time that you got to pay for a lot of the time. It's $5 or, you know, 2 drink minimum, and there might not even be anybody there. Or it's just a bunch of other fucking people doing the same thing waiting for their turn. It's not like a casual audience. You know, the music industry, this is something my dad talks about. It's like you used to have to hire live entertainment. If you wanted fucking music, you pretty much had to have a band, you know, like bands played dances, weddings. It was like that's what there was. And then, you know, the equipment got a lot better. The sound systems got a lot better in the 70s. And so that's why disco happened, because there was suddenly more fidelity. And DJs began to replace live entertainment because suddenly they had bigger speakers, better quality sound. So it put a lot of human beings out of business. It's just like automation. It's just like AI, you know. That was before Napster or anything. It's like you used to be able to be kind of a bass player or whatever. A lot of boomers made a living as bass players, if you can believe that. Because there was a whole live fucking industry of like you play gigs, you get paid, you know, if you're good. That still exists in some degree, but it's not nearly, I mean, even giant fucking, like I was watching this interview with Suki Waterhouse. She was like, it costs her money to go on tour. It's like, that's somebody that's kind of famous. Um, and so if there is no economy, I mean, now I guess it's streaming. This is why I embrace streaming, because you know, I couldn't do this on a stage in New York. Like no one would give me 2 hours of fucking stage time, or however much I want, really, and place to experiment and try things and talk in a more kind of off the cuff, casual, dashed off, but personal, direct, intimate. It's harder to do this on stage. That's why it is important to get on stage in front of people. And this is not that. It's easier probably to do it like this than to do it in front of people, but there would be a whole different energy that would be kind of fun. When I was younger, I really didn't like live recordings. You get so used to ear candy and like perfection, Photoshop, Pro Tools. Everything has progressed toward that. Product, things that get listened to repeatedly are like perfect. The sounds are perfect. They're all in their right place. Whereas like live recordings, it's probably not the highest quality. It's not like studio. You hear the crowd. There might be distortion. The instruments are not as sweet as they are in the recordings. They're not as fat. They're not as EQ'd. There's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in lo-fi. There's a beauty in demos. There's a beauty in home recordings. In an increasingly just like perfectly synthesized, kind of like meticulous cosmetically. Everything feels like it's getting cosmetic fucking surgery and cosmetic enhancement artistically. Pictures, movies, fucking poetry. That's why I'm a warts and all. I don't know. Pushing that, I guess, is maybe not the most, but garage rock, distortion, amateur technique. No pitch correction. No. Who gives a fuck? I mean, I guess that's all over. Like, you can't argue with technology. Like, people will embrace whatever the newest, best sounding thing is. Women especially. I love women, okay? I'm not a misogynist, okay? I think they're great. I know that sounds super awkward, but that's what's so sad about the division now. It's like there were people that 10 years ago you did not feel this animosity or this division with. Like, the last 10 years have just been like, they've already been catastrophic, like psychologically and for relationships. I guess that's just the growing pains. It's not easy to do things that no one has ever done before, which, to be honest, I feel like the left did. Like the woke thing, it was unprecedented. Putting not white people, at the center of the conversation, that was a big deal. And it still is. It goes on, right? It's part of it now. We all, it's that. I do feel like to some degree, like there was progress, and it remains in spite of Trump and his DEI kind of witch hunt. It's a witch hunt, okay? It's very unfair. It's very unfair how he's treating the DEI people, okay? It's a witch hunt. We need to prosecute the people that are we definitely need to prosecute Elon Musk. Elon Musk, what he's doing is already highly illegal. And he should be fucking arrested, put away immediately, neutralized, divested of his assets. It's a runaway fucking train like John Boyd. Thank you for watching and thank you for your support. Yeah, so that whole economy is gone for musicians. How do we, that's why in New York it's like busking, playing in parks. Take any fucking, there's so many people who I've met through open mic that it's inspiring to just see how they throw themselves into their art and their craft and doing shows, going to open mics all over fucking town every day, trying to get in front of real people. I mean, I think that's another thing is like, where did the audience go? Now it's like these open mics don't have an audience. Like Bill Burr was saying on fucking McDougal Street, he used to be able to do 8 spots a night, make $50 a spot. And there were paying audiences there for that. It's like, what happened? Is it phones? Is it fucking PlayStation? Is it nobody has any money? Everything's too expensive. I mean, that's definitely part of it. New York, used to get normal people could have an apartment. They could afford a drink. Beer was 50. I saw a Facebook post about this bar on 2nd Avenue. So-and-so's Jim Lynch's blues bar or somebody's blues bar. And it was like all these people in comments, oh, they had such great music there. All this jazz. They'd have bands every night for 8 hours. They had bands they said they had jam sessions Saturday and Sunday from like 12 to 4 or 4 to 8 or something. This guy's like, yeah, I jammed with Jaco Pastorius there. It's like, Jesus Christ. That might happen today at fucking Richie Kanada's Monday Jam at Bitter End, I guess. Or Smalls or something, possibly. And it's also like a beer was like 50 cents. It's like they had all these specials and shit. It's like New York was an important countercultural bastion because of all of that shit. Because people like Larry Ratso Sloman could get a rent-controlled apartment and just kind of be a dweeb, or Joey Ramone, and just do their thing, focus on their craft, get on stage at CBGB for a few hours a night. Like the fucking Beatles in Hamburg, right? And so, I don't know. It's very hard to find opportunities to do that. And I mean, I guess if you're hyper talented, if you're some hyper talented, perfect sounding jazz singer or trumpet, there is like this economy of like hoity toity rich people jazz shit where it's like, oh, I'll fly you to New Orleans to play at my wedding because I'm, crypto fucking steampunk. And I like seersucker suits and pork pie hats and fake old timey jazz shit. Makes me feel, wealthy. Makes me feel like it's the Roaring 20s and I'm Gatsby. When really I'm just a crypto bitch. So I guess those people, all the white people have MFAs in jazz and who own suits. They, there's a whole economy for them to like play music that's 150 years old, like they're fucking Louis Armstrong or something. But for other bands, it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, when you book shows, nobody comes. I don't know. There are people making it work, going on tour or getting in front of people. It's all tied to social media now. It's like you got to build a following through that. And if you're like a hot chick, it's a lot easier. Sorry, I know I'm a bitter fucking loser, but guys are so dumb, they'll just watch you because you're hot. I'm not that hot. I'm not hot enough to have people watch me just because I'm hot. I don't know what the appeal of this is. There doesn't seem to be much of one, apparently. It's people they stay for the self-deprecating humor. People love my trademark. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I might do a whole nother hour, everybody, because I do want to read some poetry. I was looking at my notebook on the train yesterday. I was like, this is pretty good, actually. Needs to be published somehow. Why not YouTube? The future of publishing. The future of literature, YouTube. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. These are epic poems, okay? These are not live streams. These are epic poems. These are epic, just like make up a story, daddy. This is storytelling around the campfire. This is as old as time itself. Cowboys have been doing this on the trails of the galaxy for eons and eons and eons. Star stuff. People, we like storytelling. We like this is what we do. We sit around, we talk, we gab, we hash it out. We speculate, we hypothesize. We wax poetic. I don't know. I mean, this is a soliloquy. This is Crap's last tape. Beckett saw it. All you Beckett heads. I know my Beckett heads are out there. All my Beckett bros. I feel like Beckett is the ultimate bro. He's a key bro writer, at least in New York. If you're a sophisticated enough bro to live in New York, you're probably a Beckett bro. I'm not that into Beckett, really. He's okay. He's great. But I'm not really a Beckett bro, personally. More of like a Eugene O'Neill head, or like I'm a Mammoth freak. I know it's not a popular opinion. Mammoth's got some cult. Has he weighed in since the election? How does Mammoth feel about the tariffs? I bet he's stoked about the Israel policy. I bet Mammoth is jacked. Him and Alan Dershowitz and who's the guy? Prager. Mammoth went to PragerU. Mammoth got an honorary PhD from PragerU. The fucking traitor. He's a traitor to the liberal cause. Whatever. He's always been a gun psycho. Well, I don't know. I feel like this is something, like when I was in college and sort of like developing as a person, as an artist, it was kind of like the most culturally significant thing to sort of like be a documenter of like poisonous masculinity. Like everybody was making these shows about anti-hero, like The Sopranos. Mammoth was like hugely respected. Fucking, Glengarry. Even Sam Shepard kind of to some degree. There's a lot of that, in theater and things. And or I don't know, maybe that was just my own take on it. I don't know. Maybe that was just the stuff that I was drawn to, like for whatever fucking reason. Or white guys were writing every fucking thing and making every fucking thing. And like, so they were completely preoccupied with that psychology, and they thought that character just like appealed to everybody, like the kind of like, it wasn't always an anti-hero per se, but I don't know, to Mammoth to some degree, I think catalogs kind of like bad behavior men. Glengarry Glen Ross, there's literally no women in the entire play. And that's probably like a lot of his stuff. Lake Boat, I don't think has any women. But it's like, that's kind of his subject matter, I guess. That's what he's choosing, which at that time, like I said, white guys dominated fucking everything. And that was bad. And that lasted thousands of years. So it's kind of fucked up to complain about it now, or complain about what's happening now, because that hasn't been happening that long. The woke moment hasn't been happening that long. White guys have dominated shit for thousands of years. But, even like True West, shit like that. I don't know. The people that, I don't know. It felt like that was what literature, Cormac McCarthy, maybe I just read bro shit. I guess I did. I read other stuff too. I read Jennifer Egan. And what other female authors did I read? um I don't know. I think to me, I guess it was like reading about shit you could relate to, and being in male friend groups, that was like the conversation I heard most of the time, the way that men talked, profanity, the way they talked about women. But in, like pre-internet days, you were or pre-social media days, you were less exposed to like what people really thought. I think that's what's hard about this moment is like we are suddenly seeing what everybody really thinks from their point of view, and trying to, you know, find some kind of consensus within that. Whereas before it was like you had these media mandated ideas about what everything was. There were individual points of view under everything that sort of went unexpressed. People's inner life wasn't as visible. It wasn't as public. It wasn't as pronounced. It wasn't published. Like now, it's like, Jesus Christ, comment section. People just tell you exactly what they think. Um, and so you learn a lot. I think that's why there has been like an explosion of socialism and multiculturalism and diversity and feminism. It's like everybody has a voice now. It's not just white guys who are film directors, or whatever, playwrights. Um, but at the same time, it is what I felt like that's what I grew up around, like, and so that's what I knew. And so as a writer, it felt like, I don't know, that was my job that was what was glamour. When I was in college, that's what like my heroes did, I guess. And so I thought that that would be like my subject matter is like, okay, well, that's what people write about. They write about, you know, and this is the milieu that I'm amongst, the golf team van or fucking chess club or whatever it is, hanging out at Staub's house. There were women there, but those guys all played football and shit. Um, Playing Halo. These were the situations that, like, as a playwright, as a filmmaker, as a writer, it was like, okay, this is what my life is. How do I write about Halo? How do this is like not literary. This is not like poetic. Playing fucking Halo with a bunch of dudes, killing things with guns in our dorm rooms, wrestling. I don't know. Are my parents watching this? This could be really fucking awkward. I'm too transparent on my unsuccessful live streams. If I was a big shot, I don't know, it would seem maybe justifiable. In any case, so I was what 25 when I moved to New York. I was like 30 when Trump got elected. I had it, I thought sort of like not that that's like exclusively what I wrote about. I wrote about my family or love, relationships, romantic. I was romantic and things like that too. I think that's part of being like a masculine writer. That's part of why we read literature is because it expresses our feelings. It gets us in touch with um emotion or if you feel love, if you feel yearning, if you're looking for something to explain your experience to sympathize with your experience, to tell you what the fuck is going on. I'm in love. How do I make sense of this? Is this normal? Like, okay, I listen to music. It gives me ideas about that. The music is all rock and roll made by dudes wanking off on their fucking pseudo phallic guitars. Wow, wow. There's barely any women. I mean, there's always been women in music, but not, like now it's like it's young music is dominated by women, I would say, in a great way. I think that's really amazing to see. All these all female bands is cool and new. And but it's not really new. I mean, there were girl groups in the fucking 60s, and the Beatles and shit, they were a lot of the shit they did was copying girl groups, to be honest. Their name kind of sounds like the way they dressed, their hair, the fact that their hairstyles were like a thing. It's like that was kind of a girl group thing, like the Ronettes, the way they looked, their hair, and musically too. They covered a lot of girl group songs. Goffin and King, Carole King, Boys, whatever it is, Chains, wasn't that a girl group? They played a lot of girl group stuff. Keep Your Hands Off My Baby. I think that kind of gets overlooked. How artistically important those girl groups were, and that was in the fucking 50s and 60s. Oh no, I'm canoeing again. We're canoeing, people. See, there's just these we go into a little inlet and then we come back out and we get on the main trail. That was just a little cutlet, and now we're going back to the main thread, which what the hell was I talking about? Stage time, how musicians don't make any money. The Beatles could play in Hamburg. They played at the fucking Cavern Club. It's like, where's the Cavern Club? Is it the Comedy Shop? Is it Pete's Candy Store? I guess it's probably Pete's Candy Store, but like, you get a gig like once a month or twice a month. It's like you need to be playing every day, all fucking day. That's why I thought the busking moment, like the pandemic moment was so important, because like suddenly there was just performance everywhere. It's like the whole fucking city was like art. It's like there were people playing guitar, there were Bluetooth karaoke machines everywhere, people singing, there were people doing comedy in fucking Washington Square Park. People sitting on lawns, like watching fucking comedy and on by the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, what a beautiful, surreal. Would you get arrested if you try to do that now? If you had a Bluetooth karaoke machine? I did my poetry reading tour, which nobody saw, much like this. Hiding in plain sight. I read poetry all over New York on my Bluetooth karaoke machine. I read my Cosmopolitan Micro Diaries. Central Park, Bleecker Park, downtown. And so, that gives you a lot of time and space as a performer. Just go outside and play, like that guy in Tompkins just plays for hours. There's always bands in Tompkins that just play for hours. It's like, that's what you need to do as a fucking, these legendary musicians. That's what they did. Bob Dylan, if you look at any fucking picture of him when he's a teenager, he's got a guitar. And he just threw himself into every fucking situation. He could play, he played at his talent show. He knew Bobby V or whatever. It's like the dude was putting himself out there a lot when he was very young. Beatles, same thing. It's like those dudes were playing constantly. They were playing everywhere that they could. And just took their guitars with them everywhere. Played all day and all night. It's like, that's kind of what you have to do. And like, we're living in an economic system that unless you're a trust fund kid, you can't do that. You have to work 3 jobs, and the Amazon warehouse tracker is like keeping track of your bathroom breaks. So don't even try to write any fucking poetry in there, because there's a ring light or whatever. There's a ring camera. Are you writing poetry on your fucking phone on your bathroom break? You're terminated. You have to go to the prison death island now, the survival game show island, the Running Man. Um, it's rough out there, people. So how are you gonna get your 10,000 hours? Not that it's about 10,000 hours, but it's just about, I don't know, like being in front of it, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people a week. Like that's what you need as an entertainer, as an actor. As an actor, it's like you need to do as many shows as you can, no matter what they are, just to get in front of people, just so you get experience and learn things and get develop calluses, develop muscle, develop. You lose your nervousness. You start to be more assured. You start to meet. You start to have more confidence on stage. You start to be able to do more. Like I'm only just now really starting to feel like this thing is really coming to life. Thanks to the jams with Clown Cest a lot, being able to have somebody to, like who gets the impersonations, who kind of encourages the impersonations. We jam together on Monday. We got kind of a good mix going, so there's a being able to collaborate on stage in the moment, actually listen in a calm way, have a conversation with somebody. It's like that's the place that I want to get to. And you just got to get in front of audiences. Like when we went on stage at Bowery Ballroom, I really wasn't really nervous. Maybe I should have been. I mean, not that there were that many people there, but at this point, like, maybe this sounds ridiculous, but like, even if I was in front of like 1,000 people, I'm not sure that I would really be that nervous. I don't know. It depends what I'd have to do. I guess if I had to impress them, I might be nervous. Whereas, like, if you don't get to perform that frequently, it's like you get in front of 6 people and you're like, holy shit, this is scary. I was really nervous. If I get on at an open mic at the end of the night, I'd be nervous, even if nobody was there, because it's like, oh shit, can't believe I'm sharing my fucking ideas in like this open, vulnerable way. Or like I'm gonna have to like come up against people's opinions about who I am and who I think, versus what I think I am. But also like being able to do your best on stage. Like that's one reason why I do this, because to be honest, I feel like I can do better on this because it's a private thing. It's low stakes. Being on stage, I want to get to that point. I want to get to that point, and doing the open mic is a great way to just like build. It's like you have to think fast. You have to come up with lines. You have to come up with something to say on your feet. You have to think in the moment, respond to whatever happens in the moment, be funny, be interesting, be whatever it is, edifying, add something, but also be like tonally correct and positive and supportive. And so you have to be in the moment, you have to be present, you have to be listening. I think I'm going to do crowd work this week. I've never done crowd work, but part of what's exciting is like now it's starting to feel like, with collaborations, and I don't know, it's like that's when uh the whole thing can create together. I don't know, just bouncing off energy off each other can be helpful on stage, and that's something you should probably get used to. I mean, it's good as to be a solo performer and kind of work off the audience. That's kind of the hardest thing to do. But I don't know, like getting their creativity into everybody. Like that was what was useful about seeing the warm up comedian yesterday. Even though all he did was ask people where they're from and what they did, it's like, well, that was kind of important because like he is waking the audience up. He's getting them talking. He's getting people involved. A lot of people. He talked to a lot of people in the audience. You're getting to know the audience. So I could, like that's what I think about with Monday. It's like my job is to warm up the audience. And so, like, what exactly does that mean? And like, to be honest, I wouldn't say that I really do it actually. Like, it takes time, like running the defroster on your car. It's like it takes time to warm up. And like the audience is resistant to it at first. They don't want to laugh and to be involved into or like, they're a little bit. And so you kind of gotta, and some nights it can be really tough. Some nights the audience is just giving you nothing. And so how do you continue to have energy? I mean, this guy was like, give me more energy. I need more energy, which like to me, that's kind of cheating, but that's one way of doing it. Just like you need to get the crowd energetic. You need to get them laughing. You need to get, and so I think that's the point. That's one of the points of doing the crowd work, or like that's why I want to try it on Monday because it does seem like I liked the way the guy. It felt like the whole country and the whole world was in that audience because we knew like, oh, there's a fucking teacher from Minneapolis and this guy's on the school board in Tennessee or whatever. This guy's from fucking Denmark or this guy, like it kind of was interesting to be like, okay, these are the people who watched the Daily Show who came out to fucking be a part of like the rabid Democratic base of it and um who've probably been fans for a long time. The Daily Show is like a brand that people know all over the it's global. Um uh but it's also it's like he took a lot of time doing it too. It wasn't just like this quick, hey, I'll be in and out of here. Like I'm gonna tell you some jokes and get out of your hair. It's like the guy kind of went on and on. It was almost like, some kind of exam or something you don't want. It's like the guy was just, he kept asking and doing more and more. And it's like, but by the end of it, like the crowd was like at a whole different fucking place. And it's like, to be honest, like there is going to be resistance, just like with anything. It's like people are comfortable, you know, they don't want to be bothered, they don't want to move. But it's like if you got to get in there a little bit, you got to get the atoms moving, you got to get them loosened up. And a lot of times when I go up on Monday, it's like I try to be wild and spontaneous. I want to practice being spontaneous and improvising. That's sort of what I want to use it for is just trying to learn how to think on my feet in front of people, which is scary to me to try. And so it's helpful to have that weekly opportunity. But having the music kind of helps because it fills the space more. I mean, to me, that's one way of warming it up, I guess, is just blasting people with energy and insanity and kind of sloppiness as a way of just like letting them relax and be like, okay, that's what this is. This is like, you can be kind of messy. The pressure's off. This guy's wild and like he's kind of being all over the place and messy. And it's not, I'm not just going up there and just like crushing every fucking time and making it, all about me. It is kind of about being reckless and showing people that it's okay. It's okay that, but I don't know. I like the idea of like I don't know. You kind of have to go into the audience somehow. It's like you do have to like uh penetrate or like engage You can't just, like, let them sit there and be passive and quiet. I don't know, like, I think as entertainers, like, is it a bad thing if the audience is quiet? Like, you go to church, it's quiet. There's nobody laughing and applauding at church. Is that bad? That's kinda how poetry readings typically are. They're more like that. Whereas, like, the open mic, it's like, I do want it to be a party and fun and that's one way people have of, like, communicating with each other and bonding is, like, hearing other people laugh, what they're laughing at, hearing other people react, being around other people's reactions. It's a bar, it's a fun time. Um, but it's also, like, as a performer, like, is it really so bad if the audience isn't making noise in reaction to what you're doing? I think you have to be willing to or I don't know, those are the places I find myself anyway. It's like, "Oh, you're supposed to say things that get the audience to applaud, like, raucously or scream or laugh or" well, it's like, what if you just want them to listen? Like, if you're in a lecture, that's kinda what's happening. It's like the you're just listening, and you're kind of like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong to going to the bar and, like, listening? You don't necessarily have to be I don't know, a lot of times that stuff is more entertaining, learning something but doing it in, like, an artistic, cool way, like some kind of, like, interesting storytelling lecture or something, poetic. Poetry readings can be so humorless and so self-serious. That's kind of my issue with that world, and it's very insular, and it's also, I don't know, very tied to money or something, except for the open mics. The open mics are just people, working class people in New York for the most part, who write and who wanna share it. And so, I don't know, I kind of find, that is more of a honest place. It's more I don't know, it's more of an honorable place to me than these fucking MFA programs. Okay, let me read some of these poems for everybody, okay? Bad cop, worst cop. Lazy writing. Intuition. Earning cashback rewards. Daddy premium member. Oh, I can't read this. They argue I'm whipped. I thought I was blocked. They're moving back east. It's important that most of the rest of it was blank. It looks like her handwriting, I think. I don't remember exactly what it looked like. Isn't that sad? Presser. There's way worse champagne holding in Seattle. The peak of cathedral withdrawals. False in the orchard of overhearing. You talk to a locker, huge from punching them. They had a 3-dimensional billboard of it. We went into a shower cap demo of the building. I saw my roommate obligated to 2 shorties. Details soaked into the story using our online names. Cyber Texans teaching us kindergarten. Kicked the snooze alarm. Look at that. I started reading poetry. Everybody left. It's okay. That's what it's for. It's to weed out the riffraff. The poetry is there to keep out the riffraff. To weed to only the strong. I have to know where I am. I forgot to write 2725. I have to know where I am. I forgot to write it down. The government might collapse like CNN and MSNBC. Don't be so rigid about what they're for. Don't try to be young. You can't beat them at their own age. I'm younger than I should be at 40. Those are the words I have to use. Libraries don't charge you for the books. It's the only free, warm place to stay in winter. Echo the touch. Seeking it all in placement by Coke. I have to see my brother in New Jersey for work. Paris, Marseille, Mali to Harlem. We should make a movie together about sleep paralysis. Movies take you everywhere. The Magic Lantern Arecibo. This is how things come out. When I had Nova Cupcake, it shimmied in without accident. Suddenly, my family is here. We kind of had plans. You can come hang out. Another character for the show. Somebody showed up and their order came. You can't get that at the Happy Birthday store. Miles never goes over the line of being likable. The auto nice how to deconstructed goes to the Saints. Experiencing sorrow envy. We're in deep shit. Danny nuked you onward. I wasn't sure I was king of the right one. Danny nuked you onward, everybody. 2925, pass interference. I read this at the open mic. This is about the fucking Super Bowl. I wrote this during the Super Bowl. Should we talk about the goddamn Super Bowl? I mean, just fuck the Super Bowl. Who cares? I'm so glad the Chiefs got their asses whooped. I hope Taylor dumps his ass. I think it'll happen before summer. The dude is done. He's cooked. He's done. He's got nothing. I think, wasn't he in a movie or something? It's like, I think he's in Happy Gilmore 2. He's cooked. It's over. The best years of that guy's. No, I won't even say that. Okay. Pass interference, everybody. Pass interference. Made practical effects for Spaceballs. REM guy whose phone it is was curious about Guided by Voices. Private noches hold my flame. Literally social media clouds in Morristown, New Jersey. He's building robots to replace our jobs, thinking through the piano, fixing the past. You're not a New Yorker till the romance wears off. You don't get old, Max. Rest in peace, Tony Roberts, who we just watched in A Star-Spangled Girl. One last hurrah, and you're missing the commercials. They're the best part. The Chiefs are getting smoke checked. You can see the ick occur in real time. They're from the northern Ohio and met at Ohio State. Leg diphtheria, run some clock. Drop ship the Bud Light. The decade phased into its obsolescence. Eagles screeching in the French Quarter. Who's your daddy now? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? 2-10-25. 29 seed. 29 seed. The lessons that life teaches us, it teaches us right here. Where do the ducks of Central Park Lagoon go in the winter? They stay put. Taking an alternate route, I discover a new waterfall. Something to film, listen to, and write about. So-and-so has destroyed my life, replacing it with another one, much like the United States does in other countries. We're seeing The Daily Show tomorrow. The guest is Jesse Eisenberg, my arch nemesis who has my career. She's reading at Aeneas Thursday. Friday, dinner at Orso for Valentine's. This weekend, 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. They've played their part in dismantling democracy and installing the fascists. Much like the Super Bowl, which we watched for free on Tubi in its entirety. Commercials and all. Ashley remarks they have a graphite tint. So does everything tech, equity, grayscale, sucking the color from our school uniforms. So we never knew it existed. Draining variety for homogeneity. The commercials are terrible. So is the game and the halftime show. Can the U.S. do anything right anymore? It's enjoyable watching the collapse of Taylor and Travis in real time on the highest viewed human event ever. My beard is gray, but Jack looks great. My brother in town for 29 hours. He drove up from job training near Philly, has a big hotel room to himself. Tonight I'll just make it up. The piano helps me think. I'm giving him a lesson early. She swoops in like a dark funnel, vacuuming the surroundings into a warped vertigo effect generated from her approaching center of gravity, a vector curving the periphery with a black nova of supernumerary intelligence. The landscape was afraid and darted away from her, hovering through it, staring right at me in a beeline to the combination of weak point and eternal soul. Who does she work for, making slinky bends around the pillows, informed of sunlight? The day ranged from Fey to eastbound. I want a podcast to report about it for me in its own way. This happened all over the last couple weeks. What text is stitched to the brasiers of the man genius? There was an ad campaign about it, and I'm not happy for your success. I'm indifferent. This is the Department of Side Avenues, half vocal to the opening, pus and blood inhabiting the apartment buildings in my mouth. They have their say too. They would only tear it down later. Maybe they deserve more to live than I do, but they would kill themselves more by fighting the host, much like us in the United States. We are the germs in the body of the nation. The train cuts a valley through the neighborhoods. He's going to be here for one day. There's no good word for that anymore. A slang foo under 5G. The people get younger and older the farther you go. I live among them, the families of tomorrow and yesterday. They're raising their children right now. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another. Oh, that's probably a copyright. The smart AI. Thank God for the AI to recognize when I'm a cappella sampling copyright material. So, nobody gets paid. It's not like the original artists are going to get paid. I'm not going to get paid. They're not going to get paid. You know who's getting paid? Alphabet. I love how Google has just. Ashley said she went to this Google test. They were asking her questions about AI and her opinion of it. I love how she went to the headquarters. Google has they've always affected like they're a fucking preschool or something. Like that. I went to Google Campus, I think in 2017, and it was like those red and yellow and green bikes, the free bikes everywhere, and free haircuts and free lollipops and free ice cream. They're just trying to make it seem like a fucking bouncy house. They're trying to make it seem innocuous, the fact that they're basically like the CIA or something. They have everybody's data. They know everything about us. They control what we see, when we see it, how we see it. But they have, a pool table in their lounge or whatever. They've got arcade games. They've got kombucha on tap. They've got a ping pong table. So they're obviously not like evil or anything. They're obviously not Big Brother. They're Alphabet. Like they're fucking building blocks or something for little babies. It's Alphabet. It's not Google. Goo gaga. It's Alphabet. It's not the CIA. It's not the FBI. It's the new FBI. It's Larry and Sergey or whatever the fuck their names are. We're all fucked. I mean, Zachary Allen Starkey said it best. We're all fucked. I need to add some Starkey to the how can I get Starkey at the KGB open mic? Because fucking he was. I went to an open mic, I think in February 22 or something at KGB. For some reason, KGB was like the spot. And 21, 22. I mean, it's still like very popular and very happening and very cool. They've been doing those tense events there, which I think is super cool. But I mean, in 21 and 22, it was like banging. I mean, there was a lot of shit happening there. And Starkey read at the fucking open mic. That was 7 or 8 months before I started hosting it. It's like fucking Zach Rail and Starkey's reading at the open mic. I hope I don't get copyright sniped for the Starkey. We're all fucked. That's not really melodic, I guess, but for those who don't know, he's a Columbus transplant. He kind of made it. He like opened for New Order and shit. They like him. They like Starkey. Bernard Sumner liked Starkey for some reason. We're all fucked. What the hell was I? Oh, I was talking about Google. The tech bros. They're not bros. They're nobody's bros, okay? They're like a new kind of dystopian fascist capitalist nerd. Awkward. On the spectrum. Malicious. Wanting to maintain control. Wanting more control. Thinking they can do it better. Without our consent. Just, leaping us into Trump 2.0. That's what people are labeling it. What a fucking stupid. All right. 21125, the other 7th Avenue. Didn't have a pick. Went Knopfler on that shit. The next day begins when you wake up. Beautiful poetry hits you in the face. That pain just started to happen yesterday. Fill my cup when it stops bothering me. Hostage unit lied about its height. Snow is the eyelashes of the buildings. Snow on the eyelashes of the buildings. List thoughts keep starting. Gold licking yard. She sent me the Addy. Crazy ain't crazy. Bullet moments of minute bull. And now I'll never see you again. Is it in the swing station? Cop a dub. I said what I said. Oh, here's my ticket to the Daily Show, everybody. Proof that I got in. Through the security detail. Jesus Christ. Cop a dub. I said what I said. This better be the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. I'll do anything as long as it's free. They have to wait for all the news to finish before getting started. The Gestapo pat down to get in for the Daily Show. Sending the perfect meme for Valentine's. Surprised there was no strip search. Used to met all my friends on Rate My Music. Definitely borderline. We agree. My grandma was borderline. She reminds me of her. Everybody run in at the bodega on the corner near KGB. Snow on the tracks. $212.25. Snow on the tracks. I'm a trad wife. So is Ashley. We both wear the hats, which are a shirt. Why even try them on if you think they're going to shrink? I got old for no reason. Oh my God. So yeah, we're still making beauty in the dystopia. Maybe more beauty than ever, I think. Things are becoming more beautiful than ever. The great music is going to happen again, in spite of the economic circumstances. Because people are going to quit their jobs and they're just going to jam all day. Everybody, all the AI is going to do the hard shit. We are going to start jam bands, okay? We're going to do psychedelics. We're going to get so high that it all starts to sound good and look good because it is, okay? It is. We're sick of listening to Boston, okay? I mean, it's great for what it is, but, like, it all sounds good. It's all beautiful. It's all radiant. There's songs everywhere, man. There's songs everywhere waiting to be heard. You just have to fucking decode them. And I'm gonna read some more goddamn poetry to you bastards. This is what I really should be doing, is reading my poetry online, just so it exists somewhere other than my notebook. And once again, there's just not enough readings. There's not enough public airtime. I need hours. I need hours to do my thing, you know? And so thank you guys for checking in. Thank you for watching. We appreciate the support. Appreciate the attention. Attention is currency, right? In this crazy mixed up world. And so you could be doing something else. And yet at the same time, our time is like more valuable than ever. That it's getting harder and harder to afford our attention and what to do with it, because we're at work all the god. Well, yeah. All right, let's start. Did I read backwards or forwards? Let me start with this, since I just flipped to it and it's a page long. Okay. 2625, Coda from Layla. Coda from Layla. I'm afraid if I smoke, I won't get out of doing work. My poetry was better when I lived on the 4th floor in the quiet back of the house, overlooking Brooklyn sprouting up in the green sea of tree. So that's out. We'll get through the winter and vacancy hours of steam-heated pre-war apartments. That was a few wars ago. You're the one who brought it up. Just one day a week, even less than an afterthought. All right, let's try this. 130.25, zig-a-zig ah. Going for 90% attention. All of those things I thought of while walking. Proscenium black box trapdoor ham radio. Commercials from the 80s when commercials were at their peak. There's a line around the block to have the host announced on stage. Stunned and touched by being seen and noticed. The radioactive plethora fire belting from the tantrum. They're using the word box, only cost $6 million. A screwball noir vibe homage. Stuntman pratfalls ruined the multiple precursor dogs. And I'm fucked on perching. Tantamount to contrived Elmore Leonard equilateral chart. Okay, maybe I'll skip ahead. 50-50, okay. No, I can't read that. I don't know if I can read any of this. Let's just talk. Fuck it. Fuck the reading. I read poetry. That's private shit. I don't know. Maybe the best poetry only you understand. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's meant to be something that only you can read and understand. Truly. I mean, you're having this profound experience when you're like writing it, which is almost like reading it. When you're writing, you're really like reading, but you're reading something that you're for the first time, and you're scribing it. You're scrying it. You're the amanuensis of the. So I'll do 15 more minutes. I'll do 3 hours. What a show, everybody. This has been real humdinger. We've been all over the goddamn map here. I mean, I did like the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't know. Um, I think the people that are saying that there was like a lot of hidden imagery in it are kind of like, I'm not so sure. I'm sure there was, but like, I don't think that that's the reason why the old white people didn't get it. We got this big old. Let me see if there's something in here. Um, it's personal, okay? It's secret. Um, what else? Yeah, so I don't know. I gotta figure something out. So I've got these gigs coming up at the beginning of March, March 1st, March 6th. I'm gonna be doing crowd work. I gotta get out and do some comedy. It's been a while since I've done fucking 5 minutes. I gotta get out and do my 5 minutes. I got a lot of new material, things to talk about. Obviously, from watching this, you can tell. Uh, I don't know. The new stuff, it just feels like it's almost not even worth talking about because it's just like there's so much of it. Or it's not that it's not worth talking about, but it's like this fucking Oval Office thing. It's like everybody saw it. It's stupid. I don't think it's like the image of powerlessness that they're talking about. They're like, oh, this is the fucking, most powerless image of a president ever. It's like, I don't really believe that. That's the kind of shit when the liberal media, when MSNBC says that, it's like, I don't know. I guess that's what people believe on the left. Maybe it is true, in the world of fucking like old school diplomacy and the decorum of how things used to be done. I don't know, but your average person would see that and not, just think, okay, they're that's Trump's sort of like uh stirring things. That's the way he approaches everything. It's just like, hey, this is how we're doing it. Elon's here, his fucking kid is here. This kid has a genius IQ. Okay. Um, they're trying to humanize it. I don't know. I guess we should start to organize, start to think in that direction, just outside of the government. The government, there's probably gonna be a place where like the government is gonna like split apart, and we're just gonna need to like protect ourselves. The scary part is like how we communicate is all through the phone, and so these guys control that, and so it's like if there's some situation where like we're in some kind of chaos or like martial law or whatever, war, God knows. Um, and everything that in our lives is like based on these fucking, like we watched the Super Bowl on fucking streaming. It was a big ad for Tubi and Fox. It was an ad for all the Fox shit because Fox owns Tubi. So the fact that they even made it free to watch, I like Tubi for I mean, when Fox Network started, right, on TV, it was great. I mean, it was Tracy Ullman Show and Living Color, Married with Children, The Simpsons. They knew they had to actually have good shows in the beginning. And I think to some degree they did try to find an audience by like courting black viewers, which maybe the other networks were not doing, by having like in Living Color, Martin, remember, was on, Rock. They had shows that were actually, we watched all that stuff as kids. That's what we watched because it was the best shows. We didn't watch fucking whatever Family Ties or Growing Pains or any of that shit. We didn't watch that shit. We watched The Simpsons and Living Color. And Tubi is kind of like that. Tubi has like, of all the streaming services, it's free. They have a really amazing library, and their algorithm is great. So it's like, it seems to me like they're trying to do a similar thing. We're like, let's make this good for a little while, and then once people start using it, we'll make it shitty, like Fox. Or I don't know. I mean, that's what's odd about Fox Network is like, why did they go after black viewers in the beginning and make good shows, and yet it's owned by the same guy who owns Fox News, and Rupert Murdoch is like the reason why this country is going down the fucking toilet because of Fox News. And so Tubi on the one hand is like this fucking film library that's like really well curated, and they have stuff I'd never even thought of watching, like Homer and Eddie or whatever it is. They just buy cheap, I guess, content. But they're all, and yet they're also showing the fucking Super Bowl. And there's all these ads for like Fox Nation, and fucking Scorsese and Kevin Costner have like Fox fucking series that are coming out. So it's like, what the hell is going on? They're trying to like woo. Is Fox like center now? Now that there's actual fascists? I mean, Rupert Murdoch was in the Oval Office the other day, right? So I'm sure he's down with whatever the fuck is with the clown. He's down with the clown, definitely. He was one of the people who created the fucking clown. What else? Yeah, I don't know. Do I feel betrayed by Tubi? Am I being like lured in? I don't know. Should I boycott Tubi? Is that I mean, do they prey upon poor people? Is that what it is? Is that what that's about? What the hell else? Yeah, so we're gonna have to organize. I guess people are on Blue Sky, whatever the fuck that is. Once again, it's just another example of the left being lame. There's definitely cool. Okay, so I was listening to this fucking YouTube video about how conservative became mainstream or cool or whatever. And they were talking about this article in New York Magazine, The Cruel Kids Table, which is about the MAGA whatever sort of like socialite young cool MAGA people, whatever. This sort of like new yuppie Patrick Bateman types. But I haven't read the article, but I'm pretty sure it was written. I see on the cover it was written by this guy Brock, which Brock something. I don't know his last name. Which when I was living over in Chelsea, I went to this place. I went to Jane Hotel one night because I love Jane Hotel, and I got swept up in this party upstairs. It was Brock's party, and I didn't really socialize with anybody there, but there's this guy. I got the vibe that it was like a media thing, and it did seem like very like, I don't know. Everybody was like super tall and fucking good looking and judgmental looking, and they were kind of looking at me like, who the fuck is this scrub? And so I left pretty quickly. But the bar was incredible. I mean, it really did look like fucking Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby fucking movie. But this guy, Brock, I guess, has some kind of email thing, or I think it's part of New York Magazine. It's called Brock's List, which is like he is some kind of tastemaker. I guess he works for New York Magazine. Is he MAGA? I'm not sure. He's like knows them and he's infiltrated their societies, writing cover stories about it. But this Brock's List is like, let me just look up. It's like some kind of secret, like, newsletter where he, like, chooses, like, what is cool in New York, like, cool venues, whatever it is, events. I don't know. This is like, maybe this is all Pokemon. Pokemon World of Warcraft, Brock's cards. These Pokemon are all owned by the Pewter City Gene. I don't know what that is. That's nerd. Brock Collier. There you go. Features writer and resident party girl. Okay, so this is a woman. Okay, well, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's two different people. Maybe I'm just pulling this out of my ass. I don't know. I heard about this thing, Brock's List. Brock Collier's nightlife newsletter is back, but this time it's just for our subscribers. The Cut. Blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ, this article is long. Ketamine, Gen Z, blah, blah, blah. 23, queer single, Galas, Bushwick, Candace Bushnell. Okay. Are You Coming is what it's called. I'll be sending you a dispatch from a night out in the city, plus a few recommendations for places to get tipsy this summer. Maybe I'm like overestimating the effect of this. But it's the same person that wrote this MAGA article. And anyway, KGB Bar was on Brock's list, is the moral of the story. And like I said, I have not looked into this. The Cut, I'm sure, is probably liberal. They're probably, I mean, this looks like, liberal, woke, cool, New York, whatever. Bushwick, ketamine, the you have all these people that like politics were maybe not that important for. That's just suddenly it's like jammed into everything they do. And you mix that up with like all these fucking like society people, but who just have money and privilege and like have never worked for anything, or like they've been schooled in some kind of like insane Max Wolf's Friedlich's Tech Bro Friendly Theater for the Boys, May 28th, 2024. 21 Ways to Hack Stardom. Honor Levy finally published her first book. The Dare loves to write songs about sex. So I don't know. I guess they're just writing about. I mean, is The Dare like, that's kind of like, everybody's talking about this, this like, well, like there's this reversion, it's not just like conservatives are cool, but like there's this like reversion to conservatism, like people are trying to go back to, by like making things like The Dare popular, or trad wife or trad cath. It's like that's a reaction against woke, kind of like whatever the kind of queer culture of, the kind of first Trump term and the Biden era is like, oh, okay, now there's this cultural backlash where country music is cool, or Beyonce made a country album, or, oh, I should have known Trump was going to get elected because, these cultural signifiers started to be in a way that they haven't been. There's like a country music bar in fucking Williamsburg now. And so that's like some indication that like the winds were blowing the other way and we should have seen it coming, that like, first of all, I just think it's a lie. I think the tech oligarchy owns all of the media and they are pushing this on us through the algorithm. They want this. They're trying to make this happen. And New York Magazine is probably a fucking part of that, to be honest. Like I said, I don't really know the whole story there, but when you're in Manhattan, and Dime Square and all this shit. It's like that is part of this like reversion to conservative being cool. It's weird how it's like, I mean, it makes sense because it's New York, it's Manhattan, it's the center of the fucking world. So it makes sense, I guess, that the Republicans would want to take it over, and they'd put if Peter Thiel is going to dump money into making something cool, that's where he would do it. It's like, where are all the cool people? Where does all the fucking culture come from? Well, it comes from Manhattan. So, okay, we'll just create this Dime Square thing. We'll boost all these people on Twitter. We'll boost their podcasts. We'll make it cool to be like some kind of alt lit, Tao Lin writer who's like sort of right wing sympathetic. I think he's, anti Fauci and all that. He's probably anti Kamala, maybe. He's probably not advocating for, hey, you got to go out and vote for the Democrats or else blah, blah, blah. They're not thinking, well, and so it works for their purposes. It works for their purposes to have the cool writer kids, Arner Levy or whatever, be conservative. And so they just plant all these fucking stories everywhere, and they put that in the culture. Oh, it's country music summer. Oh, it's Shabuzi or whatever the fuck. I mean, it's just clear people are living through their fucking phones, and all of their sort of culture is sort of coming at them through their phones. The way they dress, the way they think about what culture they belong to, whether they're queer or whether they're MAGA or whatever the fuck it is. It's like they're just sort of like socializing with whatever their feed is telling them is like their tribe. And in New York is an interesting kind of nexus because you are getting like a mixture of these different things. You've got all these MAGA people suddenly who are like proud of it, wearing the fucking hats and shit. Although I think that's kind of died down. I mean, are the smarter people amongst us? What does Red Scare think about his policies? I mean, I'm sure they're probably saying what all the right wing people are saying. They're probably like, he's just continuing what Biden did in Gaza, and I don't know. He's doing what he's promised. He's doing what he promised he would do. He's doing what he said he would do. I don't know. Who knows what their fucking talking points are? But they're being fed to him by Russia. They're all fucking in cahoots. And they did, take over this country without firing a fucking shot. And so I don't know. We're trying as hard as we can to make it seem cool to be liberal or left wing or whatever. I guess we'll have to try better. We'll have to try harder next time. We'll have to podcast harder. The things that are cool on the left, what's cool about them, they're anti-establishment, which means they're anti-DNC. Like that's why they're cool. That's why people watch Chapo, because like they're Bernie bros and they get to feel like they're edgy because, oh, I don't want that, establishment candidate. I don't want that like white bread, whatever thing they're trying to force feed us. It's like, we want our thing. We want our kid thing. We want our rebellious choice, which is Bernie. And, I mean, I don't find those people cool at all personally, but all of the people who are like quote unquote cool in Bushwick, it's like they all wear the same shit. They all wear the same like ugly white t-shirt that's like tucked into like baggy pants, some kind of stupid like duckbill hat, like some kind of dumb mustache that's like barely there. or some kind of like jean vest with like the sleeves ripped off and like a bunch of patches. It's like they all wear the same shit and do all the same shit too. Like they're not really like original thinkers. They're just trust fund kids trying to like disavow their fucking parents' money by adopting these identities that are like diametrically opposed. Like, oh yeah, dad, well, I'm fucking your worst nightmare. But can you send money this month? I need my $200,000 allowance. And so it's like these things, I don't know. I guess that's everywhere. They're rubbing up against each other, but uh it's interesting to see it come to Manhattan. I saw some fucking like tech bro is running for mayor. I'm sure that's probably only the beginning, but uh we're stronger than they are. You know, they're trying to like push this narrative that they're cooler than us, or they're like they have captured the zeitgeist. And just the same way that they wanted to make it seem like there's a mandate. Oh, he won all this. He won by it's like no, there is no mandate. Nobody wants this. They need to proceed with caution, and there needs to be checks and balances. But that's not what's happening. We're in the fucking fun house now, everybody. So we're having I don't know. We'll just enjoy it while we can, and live our lives in spite of it. Try to focus on other things. Work on our art. Live in our craft, in our community, in our friendships. All right. Well, thank you. And our families. Thank you for watching, everybody. And I'll be back on tomorrow, I think. And if not tomorrow, then Friday, maybe. Probably tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, though. So who knows? Maybe late tomorrow. Anyway, thank you for watching. God bless you. I don't know. I mean, just keep paying attention. What can we say? I mean, keep making stuff. Don't lose hope. Stay alive. One foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Write it down, get it out, paint, make music, play with other people. Music is healing. That's one reason why I play the piano in the opening. It's just like with music, you have a fuller, energetic effect in a certain way. And it's just like awesome waves crashing through the room of color and ecstasy, and it helped, and putting your poetry on top of that, I think is a beautiful way to do it. It's cinematic, it's juicy, it's fulfilling. That's what we're going to continue to do. We might hit up this open mic tonight. I'm hoping to maybe go, but we'll talk soon. We'll be on soon. Keep reading and writing poetry, keep publishing, and keep getting out there. Just keep doing it. The journey continues. Thank you for watching.